Blaised. Get Blaised. Get Blaised. Get Blaised. Get Blaised. Get Blaised.
Hey, what is up, everybody? It's your boy Blaise McCoy, and we're back for another Get Blaised interview series here. A series that I started last year, had a handful of different types of content creators I brought into the show to kind of talk shop. Not your typical interview. I want to share best practices. Hopefully, people in the chat can learn from it. I can learn from it. We can all learn from each other and take this weird YouTube world on by storm. And so I want to welcome everybody in. We got Wally in the building already. Good to see you, Wally. Odds in the house. What's the odds of that? The odds are high. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Jesse Jackhammer's in the building. Good to see you, Jesse. Great to see everybody. I mean, this is a series. This is an interview I've waited a while. We've had him on the show before when I do my Blaze cards part. Just did a couple of those because I am a collector of many sports ability, as you see behind me. But today we're going to focus on YouTube mostly, but we're also going to have some fun with it. As always, we're going to do our standard interview questions because, as I explain all the time on this show, I like to finally, I'm blessed to finally be able to use the things I got with my marketing degree and as well as my professional career in retail and management and stuff that I can now use some of the interview stuff we did here on the channel to help us all meet some new people and learn from it and basically have some fun with it. So for those who don't know, I have interviewed, let's see, Trox and Grid, where Troxel Sports Talk and Gridiron Sports are two watch-along channels here on YouTube. They do mostly football content. Those guys I've seen start here in YouTube a couple years ago now to the 20s and 30,000s of followers and subscribers here, which is amazing because they deserve it. They're hardworking, and we always talk about behind the scenes what it takes to do here on YouTube as well. But we also discuss how it doesn't matter if you have one person in your chat or 100 people. If you don't have 10 subscribers or 10,000, do your content, have fun with it. And we're going to talk with someone who's I think has done a really great job. Just met him a couple of years ago here in the area. We have a lot of common interests, common friends, and it's really brought me back to something that I like to do, which is collect sports cards again. To some extent, a little different now, but we'll talk about that in a little more in depth. But I've discussed it many times. It brought me here to YouTube, the wrestling video game, first of all, where we do the created characters and you guys all come together. That was the reason I came over. But when I really started to realize we had a nice little community here, I wanted to try to make a difference and help people learn. And maybe some people wouldn't have the same issues I had growing as a YouTube content creator. And maybe I can learn from other people for the next step. So this is a learning experience for everybody, and I'm glad people to stop by. If you're watching by replay, please leave me a comment so I know you stopped by. This is one where you can always check it out whenever. And if you're in the live chat, always pop in the chat, give you a big shout out. So we will bring on the guest here. We're going to talk. This is once again, just like I had Grid and Trucks, it was last July. Big Daddy Beard is a gamer on the channel. Wrestling Days is a big content creator we talked to. Jackknife Finnegan is a big-time gamer here on YouTube. Recently got his silver button now with over 100,000 subscribers. We talked to Mitch Koski and Bird Gang 31. Those are both Philadelphia Eagles content creators, and they had a lot to brag about this year as far as the Eagles went. I think we interviewed them right before, it was in late August, right before the season started. No, see, there's Chad. Chad, I was looking for you, man. You should have checked me out. I said, all you got to do is get a hold of me. I could have found you. I was wearing a Pittsburgh Maulers shirt. There was a lot of people wearing Steeler gear, obviously, but I was there, and we will talk about the show here. Chad, if you were there, man, we could have hooked up, my friend. Maybe next time, because that show is coming back, and we'll talk a little bit more about that. So, let's see. Where was I? Jackknife Finnegan, Mitch Koski, Bird Gang, Eagles content creators. I'm going to bring them back on, too, some of the Eagles content creators around here, because they have a very interesting year coming up after going to the Super Bowl and not making it. And then in the second series, I interviewed Leo and Teddy X of the House of X. It was a great interview there. They just got off of a cruise they went on recently on their channel. Their content's always changing. It's always fun, always entertaining, as their tagline goes. And then we interviewed Pete Wall and Vince McSham last week, and we talked a lot about the 2K video game that just came out and the trials and tribulations and the things we do to manipulate that game to make it what we want it to be. Saw you at one table, wasn't sure if it was you. Yeah, I'm a big, tall, I had a hat on, so that's one thing. You couldn't see my big bald head. But I can't say I was the only tall person there. I probably wasn't the only person wearing black and gold or Steelers gear or Pittsburgh gear, but nonetheless, big shout out to Chad Schrader in the building. That was definitely something to talk about, and we will talk about that show when we get to the third segment. We break these interviews out into three segments. The first one is the Blaise basics, and we find a little bit about being a content creator. What You Like is the second one, where we dig a little bit deeper into more about the guest. It's himself. The situational interview, the third part, was where we delve in more with the show and tell, and this time around we will do WrestleMania predictions. So if you guys in the chat, wrestling fans, we're going to talk big WrestleMania show coming up this weekend as well. It's kind of weird doing the 2-day thing, even though they've been doing it for a couple of years. It's still kind of odd to me to say that the whole WrestleMania weekend, but it seems like a whole week, even more so because they have WrestleMania afterwards too. So today we're going to have some fun with it, like we always do. We're going to get Blaise, and no, it has nothing to do with drugs. Everyone always says that. The name Blaise came, to pull behind the curtain a little bit here. When I went to college, there was a kid named Blaise, Italian dude. He was a really cool dude, and I was like, that's one of the coolest names I've ever known. It was spelled Blaise. I get called Blaise. I get called Blessed Radio and Biased Radio. And so that was part of the lore, part of what I talked about on one of these first interviews was when I set forth to make my YouTube channel, I wanted one thing to be sure. I didn't want anyone else to have the name that I had. So if you went up to the YouTube search and typed in that name, you only found me. And that's the way it is now. So that's one, as we talk about tips and trips, things that have worked for us on YouTube, as we're always learning and wanting new information. That's one tip I would always tell people. Try to make a name of your channel very unique so it's easy to find. So we'll bring on the guest here, and we'll talk a little bit about a lot of stuff today. So it's going to be pretty interesting. Could be fun. He's been on the channel a few times and definitely won't be the last time as well, ladies and gentlemen. Anthony from Pittsburgh.
What's up, everybody? Appreciate you having me, man.
Yeah, man. Always a pleasure. I just realized, like on our thumbnail, it said, talks to Anthony from Picksburgh. People probably think I just spelled Pittsburgh wrong or something.
Yeah, a lot of people think that.
I just want to say from Picksburgh YouTube channel. I don't want to make the tagline too long. So how you feeling after? We're going to get into the show later, but how you feeling the day after the show and everything?
Good, man. I'm feeling good, except for a little bit sore because the chairs they give you aren't super comfortable. But luckily, I was busy enough. I was getting up out of the chair a lot. So definitely was a wonderful show, in my opinion. As far as like turnout, there was, from what I heard, thousands of people. I didn't get to leave my booth very often because of how busy it was. So until like really like 3:45, I really didn't leave my booth. Outside of when the Pirate Parrot showed up, I did run after him to get an autograph.
Yeah. As soon as I got there, I saw the parrot and he walking towards me. I'm like, that's right, the parrot's here. And he gives me a big, he's always giving high fives. Give me a high five. And I was like, damn, I should have got a picture with him or something. I didn't think to. Parabellum Gaming in the building. Good to see you.
What's up, Dave? Good to see you, brother.
So I did get to talk to Mark later on in the show too. I was over at my boy Aggie's table and he came over and talked to him about, and we were asking like, did you get I know there's no door count, but I was curious how many people. And he was like early in the day. He's like, I had someone at each entrance, and he's like, early in the day, I think we cracked 1,000. So it was definitely more than that. And that's like I told you during the show, and a lot of other people, it felt like old school collectible show. It really did. Sure.
It was definitely a throwback.
Yep, a little bit of everything, and we're looking forward to them coming back so we can do that again in a couple of months and everything. So, but let's get into it. Like I said, we've already met Anthony before here on the channel. We're going to dig a little bit deeper. Let's start with the Blaze basics. We'll be right back. So unlike a normal interview, or a lot like a normal interview, but this interview isn't about you. It isn't about me. It's about the whole scenario and all of us learning from each other. But I'd be remiss not to reintroduce you to my community and everything, and both of our communities intertwine as well. And I want to start it out by asking the simple question: how did you get started as a content creator here on YouTube?
Yeah, so originally, believe it or not, the very first YouTube videos I ever uploaded was whenever I was a wrestler. It was like promos and stuff like that. That was before like YouTube was like actually like popular as far as like people trying to get their videos out there.
Yeah,
I basically uploaded it to YouTube so that they could like hyperlink it to like the Federation websites where I was going to wrestle. So my first foray was actually through wrestling, but my first like serious foray as a creator actually came several years later. I actually started filming myself opening up Pokemon cards, believe it or not. Whenever I was working at a church here in Pittsburgh, I ran like a little Pokemon league for the kids. And so we would do like a lot of like pack openings and stuff at the Pokemon League and stuff. So even before I really got into the sports card content, I was like kind of documenting the stuff I was doing with the kids.
Awesome.
That I didn't really like keep up with. After like the Pokemon League stopped meeting, I didn't really do anything with that content. Maybe like 2 years later, I remembered how fun it was doing that content right around like maybe the beginning of 2019. I was really into like buying and selling storage units and stuff like that at the time. And I just started, the different things I was picking up and selling on eBay, or different storage units I would do like, like a Storage Wars type video. And that's how I started kind of YouTube again. After a while, I started doing like a daily like morning show, which is kind of how I started with like the live streaming aspect of it. And then the pandemic hit, cards got super, super popular again. And like a kid in a candy store, I just got like obsessed with them all over again. So started really doing a lot of sports card content right around the pandemic. And most of my content to today is really heavy on sports cards. I still will share like what I'm selling on eBay. I still do a weekly podcast once a week, similar to this type of show. Yeah, it's really heavy on cards right now. And then I'll also like share like my travels, or if I do something cool that I think is fun, like I'll share it with people.
We will do a little bit of show and tell and talk about some of the stuff you've done on your channel, because one thing we've talked about doing too is being not just sticking to one thing and like trying to do more than one thing. So, and you've done that well. We're going to talk a little bit more, but I want to shout out to my members. We'll be right back.
This is a recording.
Please hang up and try your call again. If you need...
I just wanted to shout out to the members, because I wouldn't be able to do what I do here thanks to my members. And now there's like people gifting memberships and stuff like that, which is awesome. So it really helps grow the channel and have me do a little more than what I was originally doing, which is just one thing. So expanding and doing more than just one thing is very important here on YouTube. And I've seen on your channel the thrifting stuff, the reselling stuff, your eBay stuff. Mm-hmm. There's so much for people to learn from that, though. It's like you think it's so easy just to sell on eBay or do stuff like that, but I do want to hold that off because I have a segment for that. Cool. But my second question here, just on the basics, is to tell us just a little more. Like, we covered some of the stuff about your channel, but like, what kind of content are you putting out like now on a regular basis on your channel?
Yeah, most of the content, like I'd say 75% of it is sports card content. Like, either, me and my friend Marty opening up packs, cards I've sent out to like PSA to get graded, the reveal of what they are when it comes back. Or, like if I go to a card show, I'll typically film a vlog of like what the card show was like, and, the different cards I've picked up there, that type of stuff. And again, like I've been incorporating a lot of different travel stuff too, just because, I'm real passionate about that kind of stuff too. So like if I go to Disneyland, I'll do a vlog, or Universal Studios, I'll do a vlog, like that type of stuff.
Cool. Love it. And that's what it's all about. And just reaching out. And it's weird. It's like, sometimes you think, like, for instance, myself, and I joke about it all the time, I don't think anyone's going to find a wrestling, gaming, and gardening channel anywhere. So, and it's something that I used to do. My grandmother was big on gardening, and RIP, she passed away a couple years ago. And I started years while she was still alive. I was like, I'd love to have a garden like you used to have. We could just go down there and pick, basically make a salad out of the garden yourself. That was my idea. And I said, it'd be fun just to try to grow food and see what happens. And I always had a garden in my backyard. I'm passionate. I can't wait now for spring to, really crack so I can go work in the yard. But I was never really great at it. I don't have this big yield of food every year that I can sell it. And it's more about, learning what works and what wasn't work, what you can do different. And then I was like, maybe I'll stream it one day. And the people like it. They enjoy just seeing a different side of me, where I'm not trying to be a ring announcer and commentate wrestling. I'm just sitting there talking to them. So, and I got to give a shout out to my friend Monstar Sports and Entertainment. You'll see him in a lot of my streams. Sean, my friend, who used to always tell me, hey, someday don't be afraid to open up yourself a little more. And I was like, it's Blaised Radio. It's the character of the whole show. But he was right. And once I started to get a bigger community and I knew I had reach, I wasn't afraid to let myself out there a little more. We're going to delve a little more deeper into specifics today. Anthony's been saying when we come to the slideshow and the situation part. But we're going to keep it moving. We'll get right to the segment number 2, which is, I know a lot of people, I'm an old hip hop head. I used to like metal, but I also liked hip hop. And a lot of people don't realize that the famous Tupac came from a group called Digital Underground. And Digital Underground had a song, and people remember the Humpty Hump song from Digital Underground. That's it. But they had a song called "Do What You Like," and that was one of my favorite songs back then. So I intertwined that into this, as we're going to find out more about Anthony on our next segment called "What You Like." Now, these are more quick hit little questions real quick. And the easiest one to start out. What is your favorite part about being a YouTube content creator?
Is just getting to meet like-minded people. Like nowhere else in the world will I ever meet anybody else that like is as passionate about sports cards outside of people that like show up in my chat to talk about sports cards. You know what I mean? So like the people I really want to get down and nerdy with are the people that show up. You know what I mean? So that's one of the coolest parts is like it's like a magnet to find people that are similar to me.
Yeah, people is probably the most common answer when I've asked that question to all the different content creators, because you know, you do just by a push of a button, you can reach people all over the planet, you know, and find people you never. And now with the ability to, you know, the part of the thing we're talking about is buying and selling with people all over the planet. So that's another part. So meeting the people, finding out more about them is awesome. And I also enjoy, you know, learning from the other content creators. So I'll just pop on YouTube, and I became a YouTube addict after I started, man. I was just like, I can find a community on anything. I like to joke around because I found a community of scratch off tickets.
Yep.
Where they literally just show the scratch off ticket and scratch it off. Like people don't win nothing. They just watch people scratch off tickets. It's fascinating. I like it. I got like, I hooked on it for a while watching. I'm like, I want them to win. Trucker community, like the doll community. There's the community for everything.
It's wild, man. I didn't realize that at first either. But when I first started creating content around Pokemon, I realized there was a lot of Pokemon people. And then I started creating content around eBay. I was like, wow, now there's a lot of eBay people. And then it's like cards. It's like so many different people that you wouldn't even think of.
See, Parabellum knows about Digital Underground. There you go. Same song. It's another great one. We got more boomers out there with us. So I'm going to flip the coin. What's the worst part about being a content creator on YouTube?
Trolls. Which luckily I don't get a whole lot of.
Me either. I think you either try to become accustomed to them, make them laugh or giggle and enjoy what you do, or just get rid of them. I've learned to get thicker skin because of it, because at first it bothered me. But I think if you're, because we're pretty much alike. We're very humble. We're very out there. We're just ourselves, and we like to have fun. And maybe they're not as attracted to people like us. The trolls are. They don't mess around. I'm not trying to bring any on right now, but so you've seen it out there. You've seen how ignorant they can be, and they'll just come in just to try to rain on your parade, no matter how you're having fun. But that is a big drawback. You know what I always resorted to is the anonymity. Like right now, I can create a YouTube page called Picksburgh with your picture on it, your description, and I can go around in chats pretending I'm you, and no one will know any difference.
Yeah,
unless they go to the channel and don't.
That before.
Yep. And it happens more than not. And I always wish they had like a way where only one person can have that screen name on YouTube, and that's it.
It has to would.
It's very strange, but it does create a lot of issues.
Yeah,
but
absolutely,
it's a hell of a platform. I mean, I'm one of those guys where I like to be thankful for that. I could sit here and complain about things I don't like about it, but I'd rather I'm glad to have, like, people complain, oh, YouTube changed this, well, they're still giving us, YouTube takes this much of our monetization as well. That's the platform that we're getting out there. So how can you not, understand that?
Yeah, we're getting that monetization because we're on that platform.
Yep. Now this one, I don't even think I know this answer from you. Normally I do when I get to know someone personally. Favorite superhero and villain?
So favorite superhero, without a doubt, it's always been Iron Man.
Gotcha.
I actually have a collection of the alcoholic Iron Man comic books. Like,
really?
So from the time I was a kid, like I just always kind of like something about the fact that he was like a superhero, but he still had literally like the same hangups that like regular people have.
Yeah.
And like I grew up like not to throw shade, but like my dad drank a lot. So like seeing something like that and seeing somebody overcome that like was very encouraging to me. So Iron Man's always kind of been my favorite.
That's a good one. You know, I forget which movie it was, Iron Man 1, 2, 3, or one of the universe ones, but not too long ago, and you know, I've been open about this before. I was dealing with anxiety attacks and panic attacks and stuff. I've never had those in my life, and I saw that scene where he's like, "Not me. I can't be having it. I'm Iron Man. I'm Tony Stark. I can't be having anxiety attacks." That's where I was too. So I could definitely relate, and like what you said about having real life issues at the same time. I'm a big Spider-Man fan. I've always said that, but Iron Man's a good one. What about villain? Do you have a favorite villain?
Yeah, so I would say comic, like actual in the comic books, probably Doctor Doom, but like in the movies right now, like because Doom hasn't like shown up yet, Thanos was like amazing.
Yeah.
Like Kang's been pretty cool, but I mean, man, Thanos was just like next level cool.
Now, you're a big Iron Man guy. I know they made Marvel cards and stuff like that. Have you found or collected any Iron Man cards?
Yeah, I have several of them.
Cool.
The last one I picked up was a purple PMG. It was like one of the newer ones from like the 2018 Upper Deck set. Last time I was in Cali.
You have like a Spider-Man hologram or something from one of those old Marvel sets and stuff. I was looking for that stuff too. I did find that one or two places yesterday when I was looking around. Iron Man 3, yes, indeed. There he is. Parabellum got all the answers today, man. He's right on point. All right, final part of this little segment, because I really want to get to the good stuff here. And this is a tricky one. It can be a story or a comment. The best comment you've ever got on YouTube, either a live stream comment or a direct message or something.
Best comment.
It's a tough one. Sometimes people got to think about it. Even if it's a DM or a message someone sent you outside, it's something that someone sent you relating to your content that you put out.
I mean, I can't think of it like offhand.
Okay.
Which probably is very bad, but I mean, it would probably be something to the effect of "thank you for what you're doing" or something like that. You know what I mean?
Well, the thing is, when it comes to stuff like that, and doing what you do, that's working, retail with individuals, with people, the general public too. You normally don't hear the good stuff. You only hear, this sucks or that sucks or this and that. So it is good to hear something positive every once in a while when someone drops a comment or someone says something, or, oh, I'm glad I caught your show, or, things like that. So yeah, getting those positive comments really, for me as well. I mean, I don't get them that much as well, but when I do, it's like, oh, I'm really, or someone, for me too, when someone says, I started my channel because I watched you, or something like that. It's like, wow, like I didn't realize you can really have that effect just by going out there and doing that.
Actually, being that you said that, it actually did jog a specific.
Sometimes it takes a minute.
And shout out to my homegirl Mel, Castlevania reseller. She actually started her YouTube channel because she was kind of inspired by some of the stuff that I did, and she actually used the Sylvania part, like because I was Picksburgh, like part of Pennsylvania. She's also from Pennsylvania, so that was kind of like paying homage to like kind of where she was inspired.
Like I said, you got to kind of be clever with your name and stuff like that when it comes to this, and it does help. Odds always has great comments. Amazing to think how Iron Man went from a C-list hero, people knowing who he is, and A-list because of the movie. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, definitely. I'm one of those people where I don't complain that it's not by the comic book, the story in the movie or such. I'm one of those guys where I'm just thankful we have superhero movies. Yeah. Like I was a big Transformer person when I was young. I had the first 4 comic books. I wasn't a big comic book person, but I loved the idea of Transformers. Yeah. All we had was cartoons back there and maybe a cartoon movie. CGI wasn't good enough to do what they're doing now. Like those Transformers movies blow me away now. Yeah. What they can do. And with all of our bringing to life all of our superhero friends. We'll go back to the hip hop talk. Back in the day, there was a song from MC Rob Bass and DJ Easy Rock. It Takes Two. That was a big song. It Takes Two. And the situation that the bass is in is what they said there is one of the lines. And throughout my years of interviewing in retail, situational based questioning, putting people in different situations is very popular. So we're going to do that. But this is kind of our show and tell. This is my favorite part of the show. This is a situation the bass is in. Stay tuned, everybody. All right, so there's our thumbnail. As I said right there, it looks. I didn't realize it till I was doing the thumbnails. Like from pick, people are going to think I spelled it wrong. I got your logo above it, so maybe they'll realize I didn't spell it wrong. So what I like to do is peruse through people's YouTube channel and take some screenshots and talk about some stuff that I did with some of the other content creators that I've interviewed as well. And for those that are out there, I will be reaching out to more people. This is the final one on schedule. So we'll be doing more Get Blaised interviews and bringing some people back. My last interview with Pete McSham and Pete Wall and Vince McSham. There I go. I'll be bringing them back, and we'll talk about the video game after a couple months after we see everything coming through. But let's look at a couple things. We talked about selling eBay items. Yep. And the videos that you do, just telling you like I want to talk a little bit more, and this is kind of selfish too, because I told you I've always wanted to pick your brain about eBay, but I wanted to save it for now because I have a very small eBay channel. I only put 2 or 3 things up at a time. I don't categorize them that much. I don't organize it as well, but I am OCD-ish where I do have, all these notes in front of me and everything's organized. So my problem is finding the time, and we discussed this yesterday briefly, is to find the time where you can sit down and log all these and get them all listed at once. So like was there any influence that helped you get better at eBay and learning selling eBay, or you just dove into it and found out yourself?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I got to give credit to a YouTube channel. It was originally called Garage Flips. I think now it's called Shed Flips. Mm-hmm. It's a guy named Lonnie and his wife. At the time, it was just him. But basically, he was a guy that went to garage sales. Yeah. And literally every day, his videos are just him walking around his shed in his backyard. It's like a 30-foot shed. And he's just pulling the orders that have sold for him on eBay, saying, hey, I sold this for X amount. I sold this for X amount. And that's literally like what the majority of his content is. He also does some stuff where he goes to like yard sales and will like film like the interactions and stuff like that. But it was really like watching like when I found his channel like several years ago that I was like, wow, like people are like actually making money. So then I started taking note of the things he was buying. And then the things that I started seeing sell fast and like do really well for him, like I would make mental notes if I was at a Goodwill or a yard sale or, anywhere and I saw that type of stuff, I would just pick it up and start listing it myself. Yeah. Another thing, as you can see there, the cards, I'm just a huge card nerd. And the nice thing about cards is like, from when I used to wrestle, like my back is like all messed up still. So the cool thing about cards is I can literally like lay in bed, watch a Marvel movie, and I can bang out like 100 cards in a day, and it's very like low stress on my body.
I have a friend that does the same thing, and the idea, it's a lot more popular now. The nostalgia of thrifting and going to stores, like you literally can go to Walmart and places and see people with their phone scanning barcodes, looking on eBay and stuff, buy stuff for $30, sell it for 50 or 60. Yep. And make money on a regular basis that way, sometimes buying in bulk, sometimes finding the gem. But I mean, what I found so far, just in a little bit I've been on eBay trying to sell, is there isn't a really rhyme or reason. Like you can do it however you want, but there are little tricks and stuff, just like on YouTube, tagging things and making sure your page is easier to find, or that people are finding that item. I know specifically with a card, from the few that I've learned, putting, the company that makes the card, the number, whether it's graded, anything you can in the title helps people try to find your stuff. Is there anything else that you found when you're selling and listing your cards is helping people find what you're selling?
Yeah. So what I'll typically do is if it's like something that I know is a term somebody might use to search for something, like for example, like say a player also has a nickname. Somebody might actually type in that nickname, like,
true.
You know what I mean? They might be looking for, the player by nickname. Like, for example, like Kool-Aid McKinstry. His real name isn't Kool-Aid. Yeah. Probably have some cards that don't say Kool-Aid on it. You know what I mean? Sure. Most people are going to still search for him by Kool-Aid because
it'd be cool if that was really his name, though. Someone start naming people Kool-Aid nowadays. True. That's a very good point.
He actually does have cards out that are like actually typed on their Kool-Aid McKinstry.
Kool-Aid, yeah.
Even though he actually signs and doesn't write collate. I'm pretty sure he signs his actual name.
So along with selling, there's also buying. So finding out different things that you pick up, and like you just said, which is it's a commercial for your channel and what you're doing. Basically, it's a commercial here on YouTube for your eBay page. Basically, here's what I've sold. Or when you go to a show and you come back and you basically show what you got from that last show, which I'm just thrilled for some of the stuff that I got yesterday. It's like I haven't been to one. Like someone, like, I'm not saying you take it for granted. I'm sure you get things that you've always wanted at certain shows, but I haven't done that for years. That Monroeville show I was with you in a couple of years ago was probably the last time I really delved deep, and I didn't buy anything that show. I was just overwhelmed being at a show, and that was like right after COVID too and everything. So people were a little leery. It was a more enclosed space than it was the mall. So, and those shows can get, from what I remember, just really packed, and that's what the feeling was yesterday. And I bet if we went around to the whole 175 tables, how many of them probably have an eBay page?
Oh yeah, I would imagine if not all of them, probably 90% of them.
Yeah, so it's like the thing that blows my mind about eBay connecting to the sports cards is, and I talked about this, I forget who I was talking to this about. Beckett's still around, the magazine's still around, but that was the Bible back in the day. You saw kids walking around shows with their Beckett's, fumbling through pages when they're looking at cards to see how much something costs. Nowadays, they just pull out their phone and go to eBay, check the sold items. And that's crazy how, like, eBay, I bet you, I don't know for sure, because without even trying, they just got into the card grading market, card pricing market, basically, because that's what it's selling for in the most popular venue possible. Now, for just I don't know if you know how many, but I know you some other. What are other good places other than eBay to sell cards?
So yeah, there's a lot of really good places to sell cards. Another one that's kind of underrated is Mercari. They're not super known for like cards and collectibles, but there are a decent amount on there. What I've found is it's just like if you have decent stuff, there's not really like competition like there is over on eBay. So there's a lot less people selling the exact same cards, but by the same point, it's a smaller marketplace. So you're seeing a lot less eyes too than what you would typically see on eBay. But I do like Mercari as far as selling cards. Facebook and Instagram are great as far as like live selling goes. And as far as that goes, like Whatnot's also really good. Whatnot's a lot better though if you have a bigger following, which pretty much any live format is better if you have a bigger following. But one thing I noticed on Whatnot, like, because I've done several auctions and breaks and stuff on there in the past, and typically I was up against people that were like huge in the space, and it's like I'm a brand new seller on the platform. Like, even if like some people have heard of my YouTube channel, like it might be a 3,000 subscribed YouTube channel to up against like 100,000+. You know what I mean? So it's like way far and away like hard to like catch traction as a new seller.
I think people find their favorites, like just in anything when you buy like a cards. Like I remember being a kid, going to a place where there was 12 different dealers. There was 2 or 3 that I always probably go to first, either because let's be real about it. There's a lot of people out there willing to rip you off for your money in the card market. And if you get to know the people, sometimes you get familiar and you're going to go back to those common ones first before you peruse to new people. And that's, you get familiar with them. It's like, and I saw that yesterday. It was such a, like a family atmosphere at so many places, the card dealers that know each other, the investors that know each other very well walking around. And, to see Bryce, who I knew from where he had a card show before, a shop before, and late in the day when I was with Aggie at their table, Bryce was walking away, and one of the dealers went, "Hey, let's give him a big round of applause." And like a whole bunch of tables started clapping for Bryce, and he got all embarrassed. But it really is like a common thread. It is a community. People that collect all have that same feeling. And I've said it a million times, and I was talking to a couple people yesterday across the table and getting these nodding heads when I was saying this. And I've said this to you a million times. I need to coin the phrase or get a T-shirt or something. Collecting cards started out as collecting. Then it turned into investing because these things were worth a lot of money. Now it's just legit gambling for the most part. And if you want to get the big ticket items, you got to pay big ticket prices to, to play that game. So just like in a casino, you got the high stakes table and you got the basic gamblers and the slot machines, the penny slots, the high end slots. Now we have our hobby boxes and our retail boxes, and you have that hierarchy as well. So big shout out to Count Z and everybody in the live chat. Jesse Jackhammer, Goddess of Pains in the house. There she is. Another Pittsburghian out there. So let's see. Oh yeah, you mentioned this earlier, and getting into travel and reporting traveling and doing these POV videos from Disneyland and stuff. I think they're amazing because that's something I think people legit search for, because there's a lot of people that will never make it to Disneyland.
True.
And nowadays, if you can get the whole ride, which in the past, it was really difficult to find, people didn't want you to videotape it because they want you to come and pay money to go to the place. But to see some of these places, my friend just went to Disney and went on the Tron bike ride and stuff. And he posted all these videos and I was like, I want to go see it. But to experience it and see it, like, now there's a bunch of these. Did you do these all at one time, or is this over a long time and you videoed them and then later on did the video? Is that how?
So a lot of the Disneyland ones were all done basically in the same day. Like I went and did like both parks in one day. And
how many batteries did your phone go through that day?
One battery and then one of the replaceable
power packs.
Yes. So yeah. But Universal, I had a season pass to whenever I was living in California. So I also lived 5 minutes from it. So at any given time, it was like less than 5 minute drive to get to Universal. And I had like a free parking pass and everything. So it was like, it cost me nothing to go.
That's sweet. So these are just two examples of on Anthony's channel, Picksburgh, here on YouTube, that you can actually experience it. Me also, as I'm getting older, and I hate to admit it, and if I ever go to a theme park now, I would probably ride rides that physically I shouldn't ride at this point in my life. But and then all those posters and warnings that are like neck and back problems, probably shouldn't ride this ride. I'm like, so I mean, this is something that we're talking about variety again as well, where if someone goes to your channel, they're not only seeing cards. Mm-hmm. Someone might get brought to your channel, buy cards and see this and watch something else. And then, so that's just a little bit of variety goes a long way on YouTube. And, me personally, I'm jealous that you got to experience all this shit, but I'm also thankful that you shared it. And now I felt like, I've seen a lot of these rides and what they've go through. And it's not a positive or a negative for any of them. It's just, here it is. You know what I mean? Like, you're not sitting there going, here's the ride, I thought it sucked, or here's the ride. It's more like, this is what the experience would be like if it was you. And that's amazing. I think these are phenomenal.
Goddess of Pain had a question. She said, am I a Cali transplant as well? I'm actually originally from Pittsburgh, but
he was a Pittsburgh to Cali to Pittsburgh transplant.
Yes, I moved to Cali and now I'm back in Pittsburgh. I started a company that was purchased by a company out in Cali, helped them get it off the ground, and now I'm back in Pittsburgh.
I vicariously lived in LA through Anthony for a couple months. Every video, every picture that you had, I was just like, damn, that looks like, the weather's the biggest thing. Like, was it really that nice out there?
It really was, man.
Every day.
Believe it or not, it wasn't until I actually went to Disneyland that day that it was actually raining. It might have rained twice the whole time I lived there for the year. But then literally I go back and I have Disneyland tickets and literally torrentially downpours like at least half the day.
Yeah, see, same thing, Parabellum. I mean, a lot of people that'll never go to Disneyland or stuff, also at the same time, I'm not saying he doesn't, but if Anthony tags these videos correctly and has all the tags in the bottom and stuff, and people search for Disneyland or search for Spider-Man Disneyland, they're going to find his stuff because, that's how you do it. You make sure, that they can find that somehow. And, besides all the sharing to all the social medias and stuff, YouTube has all those algorithms where you catch somebody, then you might catch other people that watch the same thing to come to your channel. A lot of ways to grow your channels. Here's a good one. I envy you for doing this at a time as well. We're going to talk about buying, selling cards and stuff. The Burbank, I asked you yesterday about it. Like, this is one of the biggest shops in America, correct?
Yeah. Yep.
And the videos, you can go to his channel to check out the videos. They give you little tours and open packs and stuff. But this is legit one of the biggest. Wow. I mean, just the first time you did the video on it and you were showing the cases. I mean, for those that are collectors, you just see banger after banger after hit after fire everywhere in that place. It's like, I can imagine what the insurance on a building like that is.
The crazy part is that's like 10% of their actual business. They have a warehouse that's like actually attached to it over to the side there that you can see. And that's where they house their eBay store, which Burbank sports cards, not just in the sports card category, in all categories on eBay are a top 5 seller in the entire platform. And that there's like millions of people on eBay.
That's incredible.
And it's all housed in that warehouse right next to it, which is just like basically if you think of like a big Amazon warehouse, it's that, which is row after row of cards.
Yeah, it was fun. It was overwhelming at the same time because you're kind of like trying to soak everything in watching just a video of it, but it's a screaming like advertisement for like if you're ever in this area, you at least have to walk into this place and check it out if you're a collector.
The whole thing about it is you know how Disneyland's the happiest place on earth. They have a sign right above the door there that says Burbank Sports Cards, the happiest place in the hobby.
Yeah.
So that it's kind of like correlated, like it's like a Disney town, they kind of like adopted that mantra, and they really like it, the people there genuinely are happy. Just kind of cool. But
you have done some pretty extensive traveling in the last couple of years with the cards. I mean, you've been to the Dallas show, you went to the National in Chicago and the one in DC. And do you have like obviously the National is going to be the biggest one, and the Dallas one's the biggest, like one of the biggest regular shows. But did you have like a favorite of all those traveling or a little experience or anything to share with all that traveling? I mean, you've gone to some of the biggest card shows that are out there last couple of years.
So yeah, as far as like shows that like I'd have to travel to go to, I would say if I'm looking to like transact, Dallas is definitely the show to go to, just because everybody there is looking to like wheel and deal. But if I'm looking to like go somewhere and meet up with a lot of people and really just like make it like about the experience, like the National really is like one of the best ones because so many different people make it a point to go to the National. It's not really great as far as like buying and stuff, because what I found at the last few Nationals, their pricing's been kind of like way overpriced. Plus the other thing is if you find one guy's booth that you like and then say, oh, I'll be back, I'll come check you out later. It's so big. They literally might have thousands of tables there that guy might be lost for the entire week you're there. Wow. So like if you find something that you want in a big show like that, I typically say just buy it.
That's
because you don't know you're going to find that table again.
Now the National too, for those that don't know, and just from watching some of the videos that you've done and definitely check out his channel. He has some videos up there. You'll see some of the most obscure sports cards ever. You'll see on display some of the most obscure sports items, collectibles. Like they have these displays that were just insane of things that I never thought you'd ever see. Just like I never thought I'd see those 2 cards that Marty got yesterday, which I'm still I think that's my story of the day from yesterday going through. Did it kill you not to be able to go through a bunch of bargain bins yesterday?
You know what, it did. Like it really did, because that's like my favorite thing. But I was committed to actually being able to sell and make some money yesterday for a change. So I wanted to focus more so on that. But Chad, happy birthday. Hopefully
I didn't know it was his birthday either. Happy birthday, Chad.
You share a birthday with my mom. Today was her birthday. We celebrated
happy birthday.
it as well.
This is Picksburgh too. Mama Picksburgh's birthday as well. Awesome. So this is something that you can talk about the big ticket items all you want in sports collectibles, but you can also find a way, and just from some of my discussions with you, not a lot, to turn those dollar cards into $10, turn those 10-cent, 25-cent cards into $5 a piece. And that adds up if you're in it to win it. If you're really doing a lot of volume, I can imagine that can show. It's a lot of work. Like me and you discussed, like I have like a dozen cards I want to put on eBay, and it's just getting started. Once I get started, I'll get all 12 in, but it's just getting the will to sit down and do it. Like, do you have a bargain box pickup super success story, like the best card you ever found in a $1 box or a quarter or 50-cent box or something?
I would say the best It was actually a $3 box. I bought
Okay.
it was a quad relic. And the main reason I picked it up is because it was all Steelers. It was Joe Green, Rod Woodson, Troy Polamalu, and who the heck was the fourth? The fourth was like somebody who wasn't quite on the level of those first three players, but still like pretty good.
I'm guessing this wasn't in the Pittsburgh. I'm guessing this wasn't in the Pittsburgh area if you got it for $3.
It actually was. That's like the even crazier thing.
What?
So,
I figured that'd be marked up around here.
Yeah, no, I ended up selling it for over $200 on eBay.
Whoa. See, that's amazing.
Granted, it was like years later.
Yeah, well, those are the moments, and
it could have matured, but
I always say that with collecting cards, I always try to take into perspective because otherwise I would have quit collecting years ago and never done it again. I always take into perspective how much I paid for the card to how much I sell it, not necessarily how much it's selling for.
Yeah.
So like I use that LeBron pack from QVC that I bought back in 2005 or whatever for rookie cards and all those boxes and stuff where I paid $100 for that. If I turn that into anything more than 200 and double my profit, you got to think that's a success. Plus I keep saying that because I don't have any of my super valuable cards that were supposed to send all my kids to college or pay for my brand new Lamborghini when I get old, that one card.
I sold most of my stuff too. So I feel you, man.
But here's how I look at it. Throughout 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, I never had to ask my parents for money. I had money just because I sold cards every Sunday, and I was always, the thing with it too is it's like Groundhog Day. I mean, you buy cards, but you're always reinvesting. Like, and when you really get into, that's at least how I feel when you get really into it. Like right now, after yesterday, I'm willing to spend again on cards, like where I was just willing to maybe get rid of half of my collection, just have a small PC. It's that addictive. Like that's why the gambling aspect, I think, really is a great acronym for the collectible industry nowadays. And almost anything collectible, jerseys, helmets, like you said, things you find, you never know. I've watched some of these videos. Well, on YouTube, you watch one video of a sort and you're going to get all the other ones of people thrifting at these garage sales and these yard sales, finding unopened stuff from starting lineup figures to games to video games that are worth money now and stuff from old consoles. Like there's so much. And I would say I have a lot of junk, but I know I have a lot of collectibles is what I have because I don't throw a lot of stuff away. Let's talk about your show. And I think this is a really good show. You guys do a fantastic job every week on collecting profit, which how did you tell me, how did this come to play? How did you guys get together to do it? So
Michael and I have been friends for a while via, like, we met the same way you and I did through YouTube. Okay. And
where's he from? I got to ask him. What area?
He lives in Marietta, Georgia now, but he's originally from New York.
Gotcha.
But the cool thing was we originally met whenever I was doing like just the straight eBay content, like, hey, this is what I found in a storage unit. This is what I found at the thrift store, at a yard sale or whatever. And he was doing like kind of the same thing. He has another channel called The Thrifting Goomba, which basically he does, and you were talking a little bit about it earlier, but like one thing that he did a lot of is like retail arbitrage, where he goes to the different stores and he'll find different stuff to sell on like Amazon and stuff like that as well.
There's a lot on YouTube here with like costume jewelry and weird stuff like that they find, and they're reselling all these porcelain plates and stuff like that and collectibles.
So once I kind of started going real heavy into the cards, he also started his second channel, which is Huddle Card Collection, with his son. And essentially what that channel is it's a father and son that open up cards together, enjoy the hobby together. And, he also does like live rip and chips, like where he has.
I've been watching him and his kid for a while, actually. I've watched them for a good while. I caught them from watching like Jabs, which is a Pittsburgh channel as well, and some other ones. The next thing you know, I found him and I was like, this is cool because it was generational too. It was a guy and his kid opening packs, and you got two different perspectives of the market too, I think, from them. Yeah. Because you got the kid's perspective and you got the adult, the boomers perspective, our perspective, that have been doing it and seen the junk wax era and know about the 50s and 60s, know that it came from tobacco cards and stuff from back in the day. And so I really enjoyed his channel from the get-go. That's why when I saw you and Huddle getting together to do this, I thought this is going to be good. And it was better than I thought, just because I don't know. Do you guys plan segments and parts, or you just shoot the shit? Because it seems like it's just two guys talking about the hobby, which is comfortable to watch.
That's pretty much what it is. Like, outside of like, hey, we're gonna invite this person on this day, we really don't even talk till like, maybe 10 minutes before the show starts.
It works so well because, and that's what I try to do for the Wrestle Sense podcast. I do an outline and stuff, but I want it to be 4 dudes just talking about wrestling. I don't want it to be like on YouTube. There's so many holier than thou, pat yourself on the back, I'm here to tell you how it should be type of people, and I get the same vibe from your show, Collecting Profit, than Wrestle Sense. As I always say, Wrestle Sense is your sixth sense, so your opinion on wrestling, who you want to like, hate who you want to like, cheer who you want to cheer. And you guys kind of have that same laid back feel. You're not telling anybody how to, but you're giving advice and you're just sharing experiences about the industry. I love it. Do not stop this. I mean, it's definitely something really good. And you guys have good chemistry between you two too. And that's big to do a show where next thing you know, I mean, you guys start a show and next thing you know, it's 2 hours later, you're still going at it, just talking. That's a good sign.
Yeah, for sure. And honestly, it's attributed mainly to friendship, just like when you came on, like, and guys, if you want to check out that episode of Collecting Profit where Blaise was gracious enough to co-host it with me, that'd be great. But it's all about like natural, like, I guess, connection or whatever, like, you know what I mean, the chemistry, I guess I should say, because like he and I genuinely could sit around and just talk about cards or eBay or like any of these topics for like any length of time. And the crazy part is typically after we're done with our show, we'll hang out in StreamYard, which is what we use to stream the show. Like we'll hang out in like the back room for, typically like an hour afterwards, just kind of still shooting the breeze.
And that's why I really enjoy it, because I've learned something each time too. Here's the link from the Collecting with Profit with me on the show. If anyone missed it, wants to go check it out, make sure you drop it a like. In the description of this show as well, all the links to Anthony's Instagram, his eBay and stuff, and all that's down there. If you guys want to check out the description, follow him. If you're a collector, if you're just getting into collecting, if you've been collecting forever, it doesn't matter. There's good content there, really good stuff. And I'm not just saying that. I mean, it was very coincidental how we met and how much we have in common. It's just I'm just blessed to have met you and helped get me understand, because I've explained to you a million times, I'm not your average collector of cards nowadays. I'm old school. I don't care if it's an autograph. I don't care if it's a patch. I don't care if it's numbered. I don't care if it's a pink elephant parallel or whatever they are. I told you yesterday, and just for everybody, there's so many, there's no wrong way to collect.
Yeah.
You collect however you want, but I was always wanting to try to get the whole set, and it was always based off of performance back then. But I get the business aspect of it. When card companies saw all these rare cards, 1 of 50, 1 of 25, 1 of 100, and they're making more money for that company. Why wouldn't you put more of those out there? When you have 20 rookies of a certain person every year instead of 3, it's more money for everybody. Apparently, it's some people can think it kind of blands the market, but it also creates more money for the entire market. So I don't know. I understand. I have my ways that I collect, but I also understand why people collect any way they do. I mean, I'm very open to it.
Now, when you were collecting as a kid, do you get the same feeling now in like the way the market is, like junk wax era? Like, do you?
No, I'm telling you right now, when I bought this box yesterday, to feel the heft of the box, like how heavy it is compared to a retail box nowadays, I know I'm getting 16 cards per pack, 36 packs.
Dang.
I'm almost guaranteed to get almost this whole set in this box. That's what I'm used to. It makes me sick to the stomach, number one, and this is just my opinion, folks. No, I'm not knocking anybody. To see someone do a break and go like this through a pack. Nothing there. One here. Like, if I'm going to go through cards, and I've done it here, I want to look at every one, and I'll show people. I want to look at the card, talk about the player, and stuff like that. It pains me, to see. I understand it, but it's very frustrating as an old school collector to see now a card that just came out last week worth 10 grand. because it's 101 or it's a double patch that has the logo on it or whatever. Although some of those things, like your LeBron thing where you collect the name LeBron out of the letters. And I saw someone that had Steelers yesterday. They had the letters Steelers, every card STE. Those are phenomenal. That's brilliant. I love that because it makes you want to keep buying that set till you get the whole name.
I'm not sure if the guy was there yesterday, but there's one guy that normally comes and sets up at the Pittsburgh shows that literally has like the Penguins logo chest plate. And literally, I think it's like 38 pieces that make up the entire Penguins logo. It's like the most nasty thing I've ever seen.
What's up, Nova? So, I mean, one of our main connection, obviously, is collecting cards and our passion for sports and collectibles. But professional wrestling was also, something near and dear to both of us. And I did not know at first until we started talking that you were a professional wrestler before. And then I found this little video on YouTube way back, NWA East Fallout 3. Tony Hansen, the professional wrestler there from back in the day. So you can see
my guy John Burton too. He actually is a sports announcer. I don't know if you're familiar with John Burton. He was on 93.7 The Fan here in Pittsburgh when he was still wrestling here. Now he's onto an even bigger station over in Tennessee.
With those arms, I'd be afraid to say something wrong to him, man. He's a big dude.
He was a big dude, man.
But so, I mean, I've talked about it on the WrestleSense podcast a lot. I've stepped into the ring twice just to do ring announcing, and but I got so much respect for all those, including yourself, that have taken the bumps, have taken the hits, and have performed. I always like to remind people that it's entertainment, it's a performance. So you should always just enjoy it. I mean, there's so much content out there now telling you what you could think or how you should think about this and that and everything, and the dirt sheets and people ruining surprises and everything. It's pretty crazy. Chad, you got some great stories over here. I'm reading your comments. Don't think I'm not. West Virginia Javon Carter $30 patch. There you go. So you never know when you find those gems.
Oh, brother.
I found a couple gems of my own. I'm gonna show off some of the stuff I found yesterday. Nothing big, but just things that make me happy. And we got a little surprise here in a little bit, of course. We're going to talk about WrestleMania. This is our little lead-in, obviously. Talk about wrestling, and then now we will do WrestleMania predictions. But before we do that, I told you I had all these magazines in the past. I had Sports Illustrated, literally had a trunk of maybe 200, 300 Sports Illustrated magazines. And I didn't know what I was ever going to do with them. I thought, well, some of them would be collectible, like you get the old ones with Jordan on the front, or Gretzky or Lemieux on the front, or whoever wins the Super Bowl that year, that one is normally worth money and whatnot. But a couple years ago, I put myself to task, and I just cut them all up, and I started making collages. Like you see right here, this is all NBA. So you can't. It's hard to see completely because of the glare, but you can see Larry Bird in here and Magic Johnson. So I cut out all, and this is from the 80s and 90s. I don't know if you remember the Converse Weapons, the shoes from way back in the day, the commercial. But these are all NBA. So I started cutting out and got all these NBA pictures and made a collage, which sooner than later I'm going to start selling some of the collages that I've made because I got addicted to it and started making tons of them. I have Steeler ones.
That's awesome.
I wanted to put, I still have these big stacks of all the clippings of from all the Sports Illustrateds, and I kept some of the covers because I know that I just like looking at the covers or making posters out of the covers. This one is one of my favorite ones because it's all the college sports basketball, which is March Madness right now. So I'm trying to get the TV out of there. So you got a lot of different stars from college, and it's old because it's all from the 90s and stuff from there. So. And I have a bunch. I did a USFL one. I was so big into USFL in the 80s that I had one, and it was black and white, so I had to colorize it with like Sharpies. But this is what I was telling you about. This one's coming to you.
I might have sold that to you, Chad.
This one's coming to you, Anthony. This is for you.
That
buddy.
is awesome, dude.
It needs a new frame because it's a little bit off, but I got done with it and put it in here. It's all LeBron.
That is insanely cool.
I don't think I know a bigger LeBron fan than you. And I was going to bring this yesterday, but I'd rather reveal it here and get it to you.
That's awesome, dude.
But I can't wait to get this to you. This is for you, bro. It's
Thank you so
And
much.
it's mostly Cavs stuff too. A little bit of Heat bleeded in, but I know you're
that's fine.
Cavs. But I'm gonna get this to you somehow, and this is for you, my friend. This is for everything you've done for me over the last couple years, bro.
Thank you, brother. I appreciate that.
Hey,
Very much appreciated.
I love giving back, and that's a one of one, my friend. That's you got them big LeBrons off me yesterday. This is an even bigger one now.
Yeah, that is a lot bigger of a LeBron.
yeah, the biggest. You won't get a bigger LeBron card than that.
I probably will never find a bigger LeBron card than that.
Nope. I want to have I want to be able to be the one that gave you the biggest LeBron card you have. Chad, you had some fun yesterday, my friend. Check you out.
I think I might have sold him that card. Was it a TGT card?
Was it a TGT graded card, Chad?
Was it TGT? It might have been me.
I'm a little mad at you, Chad. I wanted to meet you yesterday, but for whatever reason, that's fine. So
I might have got to meet Chad before you.
Yeah. So for you guys that have watched my NFL streams, I do NFL streams with the Red Zone, which is when there's 8 or 9 games at once from 1 o'clock to 4 o'clock. And I wanted to do something special, something different. So back in the day, a big shout out to my friend. I was going to say just a subscriber or follower, but he's so much more. My friend Drum Monkey from the Chicago, Illinois area. His mother sent me he said, my mom found a bunch of my stuff and wanted to just send it to you. And it's collectible stuff. And it was a box of Pro Set 90, Pro Set Score 90, and it was Pro Set 89. So junk wax era, $20 a box, if that, cards where you'll get a Montana, maybe a Barry Sanders rookie stuff. So I started opening these on the air during like halftime and stuff, and people liked it. I mean, I had one of the biggest YouTubers. I don't know if you ever heard of Tom Grossi, but he does Packers content, and he's a comedian he's huge on YouTube. And he actually rated my channel during a Red Zone stream.
That's awesome.
This is before I had my PC powerful enough to handle it. He crashed my stream. I had like a couple thousand people in my stream because what he does is raid small channels during halftime of Packer games. Mm-hmm. And I had a Brett Favre jersey hanging behind me, and he saw me opening cards going like this. So he raids me, and I didn't know who he was yet. So idiot me calls him Tom Grossi. So, he's like, yeah, I got a Grossi. Another one calling me Grossi. And he goes, but there's a Favre jersey behind him. And I was like, I gained like 50 subscribers just from that raid. And that's awesome. But my screen froze. I was going nuts, going, holy crap, because everyone's going Grossi raid. And I'm like, I don't know what to do. And it froze my stream, and it crashed my stream. I had to restart it.
It's awesome.
That was the day where I was like, I think I need membership so I can try to afford a new PC. Mm-hmm. So I needed to upgrade. I mean, when you grow as a YouTuber, sometimes you need to, and I can't thank my community enough for helping me be able to get the green screen that I have and some of the lighting to do some different stuff that I didn't think I was going to do. And yesterday, and I told you, I said, I'm going to go hunt for some junk wax, and I went everywhere. This is 1991. So is this Favre's rookie 91?
I think it might. It's either 91 or 92.
91 or 92, because I was thinking. Now, these were 25 a piece. He gave them to me for 20. I bought one. We were talking with the dealer, and he had hockey. 91.
Yep.
And I think he's with Atlanta in the rookie card too, if I'm right.
Okay.
And I don't have that card. It might be in series too. So I ended up buying both. I told him if he had all football and basketball, there's no basketball junk wax, unfortunately. You find packs from 86, 87, 89, 88. Mm-hmm. I'm sure they're pretty penny. Yeah. But how much fun would that be to like open a box of, let's not get super realistic and say 1986, but say 89 or 80, like 90. I mean, those are very common. You can get 90 stuff anywhere. Like, well, even the hoops boxes aren't that cheap as in the junk wax era.
I used to, every time I'd go to Cavs games, there's a little, it's like a mom and pops, like LCS, like local card shop, that he doesn't have very many singles, but he has like the biggest selection of wax. And that includes like every single old type of thing. So back in the day, every time I go to a Cavs game, I'd stop and pick up like 10 packs of like the 1989 hoops for like $1 $10. I'd get like 10 packs, and then I'd go home.
Well, did you know where the Jordans are by who's on the top of those cards? There was a system.
I did not know that at that time.
I actually have little cards still in my box that has all my 89 commons. A little piece of cardboard that says if Isaiah Thomas is on the top, there's a Joe Dumars inside, or there's some, there's a Pippen in that one, or the David Robinson, or the world champion card that was so popular back then. I thought that was going to be worth a lot of money. By the way, before I show this, God, I hate these things. I can't tell you how it opens like this.
Oh yeah.
I can't tell you how many times I almost spilled all these cards out of here. This is probably my favorite find of the day yesterday. For those that don't know, as much as I'm a wrestling fan, I was never the fan of the most popular WWE. I was always the guy who went to watch NWA, WCW, World Class, stuff like that. And I found WCW Nitro cards from 1999. I was so happy to find these. Hey, what's up, Dom? How you doing, man? Good to see you, my friend.
Good to see you, brother.
So I was so happy to find these, and the guy helped me out with the price too, because he only had one sitting there. But I mean, these are some of the really old school, like Ernest the Cat Miller. One of these days, I might sit here just to go through this whole set, because this is when I really, like, I was into wrestling in the late 80s, but whenever I got back into wrestling, thanks to like the NWO and stuff like that, little Lex Luger was one of my favorites.
Yeah.
I know there's a Sting in here somewhere. That's all I care about. But I wish it's just a Wolfpack Sting. I like both Stings. But this is something that, finding obscure things like this. And we talked about this before, how 2 years ago, we couldn't find wrestling cards at a card show. Yesterday, it was a little easier to find stuff. But what I'm seeing mostly is the same things you see with the baseball, football, and hockey, is the autograph wrestling cards that you see, the RPAs and stuff. You see all the cards where people, the ones they're trying to sell. And it's really cool that wrestling cards got a little better. Without looking behind me, I'm sure people can tell I'm a basketball fan, and I wanted to up my basketball collection, because getting back into it now, like I said, I went there with all intentions yesterday to sell some stuff and trade a couple things, but I got these off of a really nice guy selling slabs in a trade deal. One of my favorites, Ja Morant. So I finally have some. This is, I think, the most PSA graded slabs I have now. I have one or two. So I'm getting back into it. Just finding obscure things. There was, anything Pittsburgh you could find, obviously, yesterday. But I also wanted to try to find some Luka Doncic rookies, which, if I would have bought these 3 cards 2 years ago, Anthony, how much would I probably would have paid hundreds of
$500 probably.
Yeah, just for these 3 is base. These are not special cards. These are just the base rookies, the most common rookies you can find. But you got to start somewhere. You got to have your favorites. Nowadays there's so much out there. Put it this way: in 1986, 87. I'm sorry, 86. I didn't do it. In 1987, I collected from packs. All there was baseball, basically. Topps, Donruss, and Fleer. I had every card. I collected the whole Topps set, the whole Donruss set, the whole Fleer set, and that was my plan that year, is to get all 3 sets, every card.
Yeah.
Back then, there weren't parallels and numbered cards and subsets, but I do remember, like, in the beginning of the 90s, seeing more update sets, traded sets, rookie sets. Like, it started to catch on. You could see where did you feel that too? Like, see where the hobby was going?
Oh, yeah. And then once they started putting the inserts in that people were chasing after, and then every set started putting subsets and stuff like that in there.
Fleer, I think, was the one I remember the most. They used to have some subsets in only the cello packs. Like, if you bought the cellos, there was specific ones. So the idea of hobby, retail, hanger, it's always been the same. It's just evolved to something different. So as much as I crack on the hobby saying it's gambling and stuff, it's the passion of your favorite player, your favorite team, and stuff like that really drive you. And for me to come out with spending, not a ton of money, but things that I really wanted off of that show, it's invigorated what I want to do. Like, I want to get back into the hobby a lot more now.
Yeah.
But it's a give or take. It's a give or take, man. You got to spend to make money, is, the old saying.
Absolutely.
And just jealous of some of the collections that I saw yesterday. I was talking to one guy that had nothing but like 50s and 60s baseball. And it was all the Aarons and the Clementes and the Mays. And, that's when this hobby really took off, would be in the 60s and 70s, when cards started to be more produced instead of just in a tobacco tin or something.
Yep.
Which, I still I still, when I buy junk wax, I like to find the junk wax that has the bubble gum. There's a guy, it's Junk Wax Sal, I think his name is. He'll open up packs of junk wax on shorts, YouTube shorts, and it's always a pack of hot garbage if there's nobody in it, and I love it.
I actually have, speaking of the bubblegum cards, I actually still have, it's a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle card. It's of Master Splinter from the 1980s, but the back of it still has the actual gum stuck to it. And I got it slabbed.
See if PSA will grade that.
It actually got slabbed by TGT. So,
where I was going, like I was watching Junk Wax Sal once, and he'll pull out the gum, and he'll like, 30-year-old gum, and he'll chew it. I've done that before, and that stuff literally disintegrates in your mouth.
Yeah.
Have you ever eaten a 30-year-old piece
of
gum?
Unfortunately, I have.
It's kind of like how when you're a kid, you cut your hand, you handshake or spit and shake people's hands.
Yeah.
It's like a way of passage, I think, for big time collectors is you got to eat like a 30-year-old piece of bubble gum.
Absolutely.
So this, I mean, obviously the passion with collecting sports cards and stuff is here with us, man. I could sit here and talk to you for hours about that. But we're also going to talk about what's the biggest time of the year for wrestling right now. It's WrestleMania season, you know?
Yes, it is.
Play what message on air? Oh, no. What are you doing? No. You cannot retire. He's trying to retire from my company. It ain't happening. You're not retiring.
He does not accept your resignation.
Hey, Lance, how you doing, man? Good to see you. Thanks for stopping in. So now all the wrestling fans are coming in. Good timing, because right now we're going to do our WrestleMania predictions. So this Thursday on the WrestleSense podcast on that page, if you scroll up right now, Nightbot, my friend, just dropped the WrestleSense YouTube page. If you guys haven't already, make sure you subscribe to that. Every Thursday night we talk pro wrestling, football, WWE, AEW, and such. And we will be predicting WrestleMania. So I'm going to try to stick. I haven't picked any of these yet. I don't know if you've looked into enough to think who you're picking yet.
I haven't. I mean,
right.
there's a couple matches like off the top of my head. Like I've kind of thought about like, I wonder if X, Y, or Z is going to kind of happen. So,
okay.
But
we're going to go. So they have, I think, 13 matches already booked. The one we're going to start with is the 14th match, the one that I think should be in WrestleMania, and it's not. They just announced this the other day. The Battle Royal is going to be Friday on SmackDown, which I think, business-wise, I understand, because I'm sure the wrestlers make a bigger paycheck if they're on Mania.
Yeah.
But this sucks for these guys not to get a Mania match.
Yeah, it definitely does.
I think it would be nice if they said the winner fights someone tomorrow night or the Saturday night or the Sunday. Maybe give them a day off. So have the winner of this fight, so at least one of these guys gets on. But the most important thing is Bobby Lashley dead center, because he was scheduled to fight Bray Wyatt. Mm-hmm. Bray Wyatt now reported injury, illness. It's really ominous. It's weird that there's no report from Bray or why Bray's not going to be there. But obviously he's not going to be there now. Bobby has a different match. Yeah. So tell me who's going to win this.
Wants to predict Bobby,
yeah.
Because it's like, okay, man, you got screwed out of your match. Here's a bone.
Like, and that's where I was kind of going to. I'm kind of feeling the same way. How do you take the guy's WrestleMania match away from him and then don't have him win the Rumble, the Royal for Andre, unless they're going to have someone ruin it for him. So start a feud with him. There's been rumors of the Hurt Business starting back up. And he could, him and they're saying Omos might be a part of it or something. I'm not sure. Hey, Cassie's here.
There's Omos. Isn't Omos wrestling Brock Lesnar?
Yeah, we'll get to that one. So we'll see. So out of this, are you thinking it's going to be Bobby?
I'm going to guess Bobby, but okay. I mean, it could really go any way if they would really put a younger talent over.
Now, the only other one I could see, because he was challenged, is LA Knight. LA Knight also said, hey, he was going to fight Ray, because Ray didn't know if he was fighting his kid yet or not. So who do you guys think out in the chat? Give me a holler. You guys in the chat, pick a head. Let me know who you think would win. Anthony's going to take Lashley. And I'm not going to change just because you picked him, because that's my feeling as well. I agree. I'd love to see someone like Ziggler, who isn't getting much shine, just coming back from an injury, or someone like Riddick Moss. I don't call him Madcap Moss, or someone like that. See, hey, Chad, if you want some Brady cards, I had some with me. I was selling for dirt cheap, man. I still get rid of them. I'm looking to get rid of all my Bradys.
Yeah, Chad, that was definitely me, man. I'm pretty sure that I'm pretty sure that was me.
There you go, Chad. You got to meet Anthony before. Anthony got to meet you before I did. So we got a Dexter. That would be good. That'd be a nice boost for Dexter to win. He doesn't have a big win. But, Bronson Reed's in there. There you go. That's another good one. Mm-hmm. That's right, Dom. They're bringing his name back. They're going to call him Pete Dunne again soon.
It's about time.
Right now, he's still Butch.
They really butchered his name.
That's a good one. All right. See, Chad, I could have had some business with you yesterday. All right, let's keep it rolling. So that match is on, and there's a lot of, just like every year, WrestleMania weekend, they pile on. There's a Ring of Honor show. There's an NXT show Friday as well. So, or I don't know when NXT is. Maybe it's Tuesday. I don't even know. There's wrestling every night of the week this week, and it's all huge. And all the indies.
Yeah, I was going to say there's a ton of indie stuff happening in LA that week, too, leading up to it.
That's like I like how that has evolved into something bigger for the whole industry, not just WWE. Is no matter what city WrestleMania is in, you'll see all these indies throw some big shows there that weekend as well.
Yep.
All right, let's get into the real meat of it. The Miz, the host of our WrestleMania in Hollywood. I know a lot of people thought that The Rock would be there in this one, and there's still rumors that we may see him at the very end of the show as a possibility, leading to a match at either SummerSlam or one of those. See you at Mania next year. Mm-hmm. So this match was already announced to be the first match on day one.
You're welcome, Chad.
So there you go. I'm mad now. I'm really mad at you, Chad. That's not fair. I reached out to you. I wanted to meet you. Okay. Anywho, Austin Theory challenging Cena. Cena challenging Austin, however you want to call it. United States Championship on the line. Cena was famous for those open challenges when he had it. I mean, I don't know. I got my theory on this match, but what do you think, Anthony?
Yeah, I have my theory as well. Personally, I think that this is going to be a move to put Austin Theory over as a bigger star. I mean, what bigger way to do it than going over on the grandest stage of them all with a guy that it basically goes by the name of Big Match John. Yep. You know what I mean? Like most people, especially younger people, might even think John Cena is like the GOAT because of how hard they pushed him over the last, 20 plus years.
Well, they present him as that. Like Michael Cole on commentaries and other people say he's the greatest of all time. And I guess he's in the argument with all the titles and everything. And he's done so much, not only but also for his Make-A-Wish stuff that he's breaking world records for, like doing stuff outside the movies. His shitty movies at first, and then he has a couple decent ones, So, I mean, I still want to see him come out as the Peacemaker in WWE one time. Just walk out
would be awesome.
as the Peacemaker.
It would be awesome if they did a promo where he burst through the wall as Peacemaker and the helmet just fell off, like the Shockmaster.
Yes, that would be good. That'd be a nice throw. See, there's some people out there thinking Cena's going to win, so I can see Cena winning because he's Cena, but I'm going to go with Theory the same way. I think it's kind of a passing of the torch. Cena would get a nice pop for the win, but I think he's got to be settled with having the pop of him come out. That's going to be a nice way to kick off.
It does more for Theory, in my opinion, just like you were saying. But I mean, I don't think it hurts him too bad losing to John Cena, who many consider to be the GOAT. But it does a lot more for establishing his career, I think.
I'll let you slide this time, Chad. And we'll see you at the next one. Anthony, it's June. When is the next one?
I want to say it's June 17th. I'm not entirely sure. I'd have to look at my calendar, but
they had little flyers or something. I was going to grab a flyer or something for the next one for the show, and I forgot to grab it. But we'll definitely be talking about that as it becomes closer. Man, I haven't been to that Washington Crown Center in a long time. We talked about the malls dying around here and stuff, but that was like a mall alive again with all those people in there. It was a lot of fun. You got Cena winning too? Okay. Like I can see reasons for either way, but I'm thinking it's Theory. We'll see. Now this one is technically scheduled to main event night one.
This is the match I'm looking forward to most on the entire card because Charlotte's my favorite wrestler. Like I was always a Ric Flair guy growing up, so this is like I'm getting to relive a lot of his career through her. Yeah, she's like arguably an even better athlete than her father.
True, she's more of
I
a,
don't want to say she's a
pure
better
athlete than
wrestler,
him.
but she's definitely a way better athlete than he
Yes.
was.
He was never chiseled or best shape or six-pack abs. He was the man on the mic.
But I mean, Rhea right now is super freaking hot too. So this is a WrestleMania match that we've seen in the past, but it's one that feels brand new to me for some reason.
Yep. So who you got in it?
Honestly, I'm going to go with Rhea because
Okay.
I feel like with her being so hot, they almost have to put the belt on her.
Yeah, it kind of completes
on the momentum.
Completes the story of her finally getting that revenge on Charlotte for winning what is it? It was the NXT title, wasn't it? That she won off her Rhea.
Yep,
that's right. She came down and challenged that. So, yeah, and like you said, and I said this on our podcast so many times that Judgment Day Rhea kept Judgment Day alive. I mean, she's the reason that Dom is over. She is phenomenal. Me personally, I like the non-dark Rhea. I like when she looks like a regular person because I think she's gorgeous. I think she's amazing in the ring. I think she's got every part of the full package. I'm just not into the I think it works, the dark part of her, but I hope sooner than later that she goes back to her old self as well and gets cheered again. And that's the thing. Here's the thing, like you said, Charlotte actually playing a face right now, but I have a feeling she's going to get booed. She got booed a little bit the other night with her promo because she comes off more of a natural heel when she talks.
Absolutely. I mean, you can't really have a Flair-esque persona and not be a little bit Hill-esque.
She personifies the cockiness. Yeah, she's the ego, the cockiness that he had to the nth degree. I'm not a huge fan of hers, but I respect, like you said, her athleticism, her longevity. I don't think any of these championships, Cena's or hers, title reigns, come anywhere close to Flair's. Because when Flair did it, there was only one championship. And these ones, counting their SmackDown and their Raw titles as world titles, reigns, I'm an old school once again. I think I can't compare Flair's run or Charlotte's run or Cena's run to Ric Flair's because I remember what it was like when he was champ back then.
By the same point, though, like if you look at it like counter, on the other hand, I guess technically now that AEW is around. Before AEW, like there was technically two belts if you count WCW and WWE as far as like two major corporations. But now that AEW is around, so I guess it is technically the same. But
when the brand split happened and the whole Fox, I understand the business aspect behind it. Both of the networks won a world championship, but I think it doesn't make it as important when there's not just one on the top.
I don't see why. If they just have one, why couldn't they just send the champion to both shows?
Like, I don't know. Yeah,
in the territories. That's what they used to do. Like if Ric Flair was world champion, he would literally travel all the different territories as the champion, facing all of the territories' top guys. So theoretically, he could face the top guys on both shows.
Yeah,
I guess technically Roman's been doing that for
pretty much
past 900 plus days.
Dom, on one of the WrestleSense podcasts back on one of our first podcasts, we talked about that, and I brought up the specifics that he actually has 20 title reigns. There's a couple of them that they don't recognize. One that was like one over Japan and lost it the next day or something. But there's really technically like 20 that that he has or something. So everyone that we can get into this argument all I want because I hate the GOAT conversation. I can't stand it. Damn you, Muhammad Ali, for starting that terminology. I mean, here's how I look at it. I don't compare eras. I can't compare the way football was played in the 80s to how it's played now. So the Jim Browns, the Montanas, who were my GOATs, if you want to say it back then, compared to Brady and those doing it now, I don't like comparing them because the sports changed. Basketball from the 80s and 90s till now, it's different. It's still put the ball in the hoop, but the game is different. The rules have changed. Totally. Plus, in all these sports, including wrestling, everyone's bigger, faster, stronger.
Correct.
So the times have changed. So I don't say anybody's the GOAT. And if you want to get technical, I could be a dick about it. How can someone be the GOAT, greatest of all time, when all time isn't over yet? How do you know someone isn't going to come out and be better?
Very true.
Speaking of someone coming out and didn't know how good they'd be, Logan friggin' Paul, man.
Yeah.
He's made a fan out of me. And I couldn't stand him as a vlogger and stuff.
Yeah, I was very impressed with him from the very first WrestleMania match he had, actually. Like, right out the gate, like, both me and Marty said to each other, like, holy crap, this guy's actually pretty good for this being his first real match. But yeah, I would say in this match, I think that he's going to go over because obviously he's the bigger name. I think, like, in WrestleMania moments, WWE likes taking these guys that are like very well established, that are going to get them like buzz beyond just the wrestling fans, and really like to give them like a good pop on like the biggest stage. So in my opinion, I think Logan Paul's going to go over for that reason. But it's going to be a heck of a match because Seth Rollins, in my opinion, is like literally one of the best wrestlers in the world.
He is. I mean, if he was the one to take the title off of Roman, I wouldn't complain about that because they have history, they have story with the Shield and everything. And I think all the way back to freaking Tyler Black in ROH and stuff, he's been phenomenal, and he's evolved his character and changed it. And I really like the wild, wacky Seth. This is a tough one because Logan can get over. See, they can do like they did when Logan had that spot where he dove off of the top with the phone.
Yeah.
He doesn't have to win if he has a big moment because his moment will go viral because he's so huge. I mean, millions of views on that spot with the phone.
Yeah.
What that spot would be, I don't know. They're going to give Logan Paul a WrestleMania moment. Is it going to be a win? It could be. Now, the thing with Seth is, does he really get hurt for losing to Logan? I think Logan's already proved he had a match with Roman already, for goodness sakes.
Yeah.
So we got a lot of some people picking Seth. Some people, I mean, I'm torn on this one. Yeah, odds. I know technically he says 21. There's that one that they dispute. I forget all the details on it. So that's why I say 20. See if anyone else knows the complete story. Because there is one story about one of the belts that they don't count at all because it was, I think it was 2 belts. I forget the whole story. I don't want to try to say I know it. Dan, where'd you get Danhausen from, Dom? Where are you going with this? I miss. Oh, here we go.
Yeah, Dave said something about him.
The gimmicks, yeah. See, I think I'm one of these guys. I talk about it on WrestleSense. I believe there's more than just storytelling. You can tell a story in the ring with moves, working on a part of your body. You can tell stories, just with promos, a lot of different things. I mean, I need comedy in my wrestling. I need seriousness in my wrestling. I want brutality in my wrestling. I want flippy shit in my wrestling. I want a little bit of everything. I want to be entertained in every way. And right now, both companies are doing it. Right now, both companies are entertaining me in all those ways. So I can't really complain. Oh, man. I know you're going with Logan. Just because I'm probably going to take the same pick on Thursday. I'm going to take Seth Rollins. I'm going to go with my storyline that Logan gets his moment some other way. I don't know how, but he'll get some, because all he needs is 30 seconds to have a clip on Instagram to go viral. But I also see him winning too. So I'm just going to pick Seth because that's the first thing that comes in my head. These are two of my favorite women wrestler right here. This is
a good match.
Yeah. And the only thing, and I know a lot of people talk about this and I get pissy about it on the WrestleSense podcast, and people complain about build for a match where sometimes you don't need a ton of build. Like for instance, Royal Rumble doesn't need build. It's a Royal Rumble. There's all going to be all kind of stuff going on in it. I'm a huge fan of the evil part of Asuka, and I know they're just trying to show her do that more by beating up Bianca after we're tagging together the other night. I'm going to pick first here. I'm taking Bianca to retain. What about you, Anthony?
Yeah, I was actually going to pick Bianca too. Reason being is I feel like right now momentum would be more so on Bianca's side, more so than Asuka's. Now I realize Asuka recently came back again, but I just really think they're trying to do something special with Bianca. Like, I think they're trying to build her up, and Asuka's a very credible challenger. So like another big WrestleMania win against somebody like, and Asuka is big for Bianca, especially after she got squashed by Becky that one year.
Took the word right out of my mouth. Everyone was saying that Bianca was buried after she lost in 30 seconds when Becky came back. And I said, I had a pretty good feeling they would build to another match down the line, which they did. And Bianca got a revenge in a good match. And there's no doubt these two could put on a good match. Bianca's come such a long way. I mean, she went to University of Tennessee, track star and stuff like that. She's an athlete. And they have a ton of those now with that NIL program. I mentioned it. I forget what college they're in, but there's a set of twins they're bringing up in the NIL. Miami, possibly. They're Hurricanes. They're athletes on one of the colleges, and they're two gorgeous twins. And when the Bellas came up in the news last week about possibly never coming back or something, I went, who cares? There's more hot twins out there that they can teach to be wrestlers. It'll happen.
Correct.
I think here, as much as I'd hate to ruin Bianca's moment, she's had a big WrestleMania moment before. True. Bianca wins, but Asuka needs to flip and just beat the hell out of Bianca afterwards. Maybe leave her in a pool of blood or have her carted out in an ambulance or something. If they're going to make Asuka, because people still want to cheer Asuka because she's dancing around and making funny stuff. She's still hilarious to me. Yeah. But if they're going to build her to be evil Kana, the other side of Asuka, I'd say they got to do something, maybe post-match beatdown or something. We'll see. I really think Triple H is going to want to bring out a lot of surprises and entertaining stuff for this Mania. I don't know where the hell he's going with this one, but the only thing I can think of is Hogan Andre.
Yeah, this is like Vince's favorite type of match. Two giant gorilla-like men. Just
two meaty men slapping meat, as they like to say.
Correct.
But I think the whole match is going to be, can he F5 Omos? Can he take him to Suplex City and toss him around the ring? It's not like him throwing Ray or some little guy around. So it would be a moment when he finally gets him up on his shoulders and F5s him. I'm sure that's going to be it. Now, could this be where the Hurt Business comes in? Bobby Lashley has ties with Brock in that feud. Rumors were Omos could be part of the Hurt Business. Maybe that comes into play. How shocking would it be if Lashley comes down and somehow Omos gets the win over Brock?
So, essentially, I'm going to pick Brock in this match. Just because I don't think you book a Brock Lesnar on WrestleMania and then feed him to somebody.
Now, for those that don't know, he was offered Bray and he turned it down from the rumors too.
Yeah. So the other thing is the only way I really see Brock losing is if they want to make Omos like a mega star, because this is the guy that ended the Undertaker's streak.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So there's like a lot that goes into like Brock Lesnar and big matches like WrestleMania. You know what I mean?
True.
Like he's literally the only person that's ever beat the Undertaker at Mania.
Yep. That's a good point. So, that's what I'm saying. Like if Omos would somehow get a win, even if it's a DQ or a schmoz with like Lashley helping him, then that crew along with Omos has the bragging rights that I beat the guy who beat the Undertaker. I beat the Beast incarnate. Yeah. The guy who
it would have to be a career-defining moment for Omos for them to put him over.
And they want him over. So like you said, they want the Andre the Giant monster type thing. From what I understand, though, here's the thing about Omos that I don't think a lot of people know. If you ever seen him in an interview, he's hilarious. He has a personality. He really does. And I compare it to Big Show. When Big Show was in WWE.
Oh, touche. Odds. Good call.
They didn't. Yeah, that's right.
Forgot about that one.
They didn't let Big Show be as comedic as he can. And he's one of the funniest guys. He's hilarious when you let Big Show go off. So I'm wondering if eventually, if the big monster, evil, mean Omos doesn't get over, that they let him use a little bit more of his personality eventually would be interesting. But yeah, I'm going to go with Brock too.
They definitely need to start building some more like big, like legitimate main event guys that like when Roman's facing somebody, you think, yeah, he could actually lose to this guy.
Yeah. Yeah, and when we go to the Roman thing, depending on what happens there, it really defines what's going to go on in the future. Now, this one, I'm sure we'll hear the word banger a bunch, and they've had great matches against each other, Sheamus and Gunther, Drew and Sheamus, Drew and Gunther, and now all three of them. Now, I'll go first here. I cannot see them taking the title off of Gunther right now. I think this is just a bunch of dudes with red chests because they chopped the shit out of each other. But I think this hopefully is the end of this little triumvirate between these three that have been fighting like crazy. And Gunther proves that, he's really going to lift the Intercontinental title up a little more and get the win. What do you say?
Yeah, I'm with you on the Gunther train. I think right now, if we're just talking momentum, like he has way more than I would say both of the guys put together. The other two guys, like if one of the other guys is going to win, I would say maybe Drew McIntyre, but I can't see them taking the belt off of Gunther right now, especially like on WrestleMania. You're trying to build future stars and you're trying to build resumes. And this is a good resume against Drew McIntyre, a world champion, and Sheamus, a world champion. He can say he's beat 2 world champions in one night at WrestleMania.
Yeah. And the one thing about WrestleMania and WWE is they're never going to be matched or anywhere close to putting on a spectacle, putting on a show. And that's what this is going to be, especially in Hollywood. Like, I can imagine how many times they're going to cut to the crowd and show famous people, probably throughout the whole night because it's in LA. Friend of the WrestleSense podcast, Jason, big shout out to you from that Wrestle podcast. He's actually going to WrestleMania. So he's going to go back to LA and go to the actual show. He said, wait, let me think. He's going to SmackDown because it's in LA. Then he's going to both nights of WrestleMania and the night after Raw. He's going 4 nights in a row.
I actually secured tickets to the 2 nights of Mania, but I'm not going to like any of the other stuff.
No. So you are going?
Yeah. First Mania ever.
Oh, wow. I didn't even know that. Breaking news, everybody.
Yeah.
I was going to say, I mean, since you were out there, I thought maybe you're out there for a while. You might.
I actually bought the tickets for Marty's birthday back in September. And so I just happened to have them. Like, I'm not going to not go to WrestleMania when I have tickets.
Are you going to vlog it or record any stuff? Or
I'll probably
or
vlog some of it. Yeah.
Please do, man. I love to live vicariously through people that go to. I have friends that have gone to Manias, and I know it's not cheap.
Yeah,
especially if you don't have a place to stay and you got to fly, stay, and go to the nights. That's
luckily my girlfriend lives in LA, so like I can just crash at her place.
So
and
take out hotel. That's golden.
So
that's
that's really good. Plus, I already had the tickets since I got them for Marty's birthday, and we're literally in peanut heaven. Like, we're 1 block down from where Jesus lives.
But to say that WrestleMania, you went to a Mania, man, that's. I mean, it's in Philly next year. Maybe we should start like a GoFundMe to send a bunch of content creators to, like me and you. We'll get like 10 people and go to Mania in Philly next year.
If you're going to Philly next year, man, I'll try to go with you.
I mean, that's one thing on the bucket list is to go to a Mania. And unless it would come to Cleveland, I don't think it's ever coming to Pittsburgh or Cleveland, either one. I mean, so Philly might be the closest, or if they ever go back to Atlantic City like they were back way in the day. But nowadays, it's got to be big, huge, 100,000 people or more,
Yeah, the main reason I even got tickets was I was actually living like 10 minutes from where they're actually holding it at the time. So I was like, I can't not go. That would be like right now, like them announcing they're coming to Pittsburgh. It's like, I have to get tickets if they're coming to Pittsburgh.
Yeah, that's right. All right, let's go move on to the next match. We got some ladies to talk about here now. This little storyline, the whole damage control thing kind of fell apart after the big pop from them coming back and everything. And now you got these legends coming back. It's weird to have tag champs and the belts aren't on the line. That's what's weird to me. Like, I love Lita. She's always one of my favorites. I remember Trish before she was a wrestler when she was in like workout magazines and stuff. And I was like, and they pulled her over. I was like, I saw that girl in workout magazines or something before. They're always right next to the wrestling magazines. Get your dirty minds out of the gutter, you people. But in this one, it's tough because, I'm going to go on a limb here and give Bayley and Damage Control the win because I think they need it more than the Legends do, because then maybe they'll earn a rematch for the tag title or something. I don't know, because there's other tag matches going on. I don't know. That's just a weird pick for me out of the blue. I'm just going to, and I can't stand Damage Control, but I'm going to pick them.
So I'm going to do the opposite out of the blue as well. So, and the reason for that is I'm going to say that this is crowd pleasing by Vince. People love Trish. They love Lita. They love seeing legends come back and having their moments at WrestleMania. Yep. Like, I think of like the Rock and Sock connection back in the day, where against Evolution. I can't even remember if they won that. I remember specifically like, the big legend match. But I mean, and again, Becky Lynch, it's hard to see her losing at Mania too. Although she has put other people over at Mania, I think it does more for Damage Control getting a win. But I think just for them wanting to give the legends their moment, I'm going to go with the other side. But I could see that too. Odds if Triple H is definitely booking it.
The other rumor was a heel turn by Trish.
Oh.
And if that happens, because she's not the tag champ.
That would be a great storyline too, because her and Lita with the best friends and everything like that. Lita now forming a tag.
Trish turns and costs them the match.
Yeah, that would
Damage
be
control wins without really earning it, but then they can brag about it as he heals. And then I don't know if that starts a little mini feud, because from what I heard, Trisha's sticking around for a little bit, which is good, man.
Yeah.
I like when the legends come back. They don't have to stay for the whole year, and I understand when they come back once and leave, but when they stay for a couple weeks or a month or through a storyline, I love that, man, because that's people bitch about old people in wrestling or people that are past their time or whatnot. That's been in wrestling forever. I remember in the 80s, Nick Bockwinkel was so past his time, but he was still wrestling.
Yep.
That's always going to be a part of wrestling. When Ric Flair
hard
announces,
for people to put it down.
And that's the whole Ric Flair thing last year.
Physically do it, why not?
Exactly. And if you're Ric Flair, who's going to tell him he can't have another match?
And who's going to not watch his next match?
Exactly.
Even if you're not entertained by his level of quality of wrestling, like, he might die.
Yeah, I don't want to see him die. One of the best things that came out of that match that he had, his last match last year, was Jeff Jarrett. Because Jeff Jarrett was pulling off during that match some of the best heel work. And now he's doing the same thing in AEW. And I think it has something to do with it. I mean, that dude's timeless. He looks great. I mean, you talk about Jeff Jarrett, Sting's in the 60s. Mr. Ass, Daddy Ass himself is in the 60s, I believe.
Yeah.
And they look fantastic. Sure, the steroids might have helped them and such, but like you said, if that's what they love doing and they can physically be able to do it and get cleared, let them fight. The other guy can protect them and stuff, or not take as many bumps.
For sure. I'm sure that's why Lita's in a tag team too, is probably to help protect her from, getting like some kind of major injury, because Becky can take a lot of the heat for her.
This one's going to be tough because we don't know who the fourth team is. And I haven't really thought of it a lot, but I have no clue unless they're bringing somebody back or something, surprise.
You know what I wonder? Like, you remember they used to have a 4 horsewomen like of MMA. Both of them chicks,
yeah.
Ronda Rousey and Shayna Baszler were both in the 4 horsewomen. Wouldn't that be crazy if like somehow like they brought the other 2 horsewomen in?
Well, I know what's her name. It was in AEW for a little while. And I don't know if she was actually signed or not. Now I gotta look it up.
I mean, I could be completely off, but I just think that would be kind of a cool storyline to like Ronda Rousey gets her faction.
Marina Shafir. Marina Shafir was in AEW not long ago, and I was a big fan of Jessamine Duke. I liked her. That's the other one. I couldn't think of her name. So yeah, if that would be a neat storyline. I was thinking if the Iconics would come back, would be a nice little surprise. They haven't fought in a while, just for maybe even if it's a one time. I think the Bellas are off the docket now, but that might have been a couple weeks ago. But they kind of some of their comments lead us to believe they're not coming back. Which, like I said, they got more Bella twins coming up. I'm gonna go Ronda and Shayna here. It depends on who that other team is, but I'm gonna say Ronda and Shayna wins. And they get a nice little run at the tag titles going towards SummerSlam.
You want to know the crazy thing? Imagine this is real life. They don't even need two other partners. Ronda and Shayna is just going to beat the ever-loving crap out of all 4 of those girls.
Yeah. Well, no, it's 4 tag teams. It's 4 tag teams.
Yeah.
This is a 4-way tag.
Oh, it's a 4-way. Gotcha. Okay.
The way it's set up, it looks like it's 4-on-4.
Oh, that's where I was going with the horsewomen. Like, who are the 2 mystery tag team
even if Shafir and Jessamine came back to be against those 2 would be a great pop.
Oh my god, yeah. That's a nasty little team though.
The 4th team will be found out on SmackDown match. Oh, there you go. Yeah, that's a good idea. See, that I would like, because then you give meaning to one of those matches on SmackDown where they earn a Mania match. Like the Andre the Giant Battle Royal winner should, get a shot on a Mania match.
I could see them pushing Liv and Raquel here, if that's the case. Like, I mean, obviously Natalya and Shotzi, they're going to lose. Like, they basically are like they're good, but they're basically like the modern day jobbers in the division. I'm
thinking heel face too, because the tag titles aren't on the line. So Becky and Lita, the faces, will still have the titles. So to have Ronda and Shayna go after them next at SummerSlam or something, that's just where my mind goes right off the bat. Are you going to Liv?
Unless somebody is special showing up that they're, I'm probably going to go Liv and Raquel.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Because I
what a lot of people are going to say.
Very well could be the mystery people.
It ain't going to happen. But say it's Sasha and Naomi. it ain't gonna happen, but that
Yeah.
would be a great. I mean, the ones that walked out last year
Yeah.
that don't seem like they're coming back. Sasha has some couple matches left in New Japan though, so I doubt that would happen. But that would be the really big surprise if it would happen.
Absolutely.
Just like CM Punk walking out at Mania would be a big surprise, but you never know. You never know. It's wrestling. Never say never. I'm looking forward to this. I talked about it at the podcast. I think we get a purple demon. They get Finn Balor in the demon gear, but he's purple. This is tough. I'll let you go first on this one.
I'm going with Finn just because it's going to mean more to building his career. And I feel like Edge is at the stage of his career where he wants to help put other young wrestlers over the same way that, Mick Foley once did it for him at WrestleMania. I really feel like that's probably what's happening here.
Well, like you said, it's wrestling and they can have 15 retirements and come back. But Edge has said this is his last year. So if he's on the way out in 23, I could see putting over Finn. But at the also, man, what the hell's in with Edge's cheeks falling in like that? That looks crazy.
I don't know, man.
It's like, how do you suck in the sides of your cheeks like that? That's insane. I think we get some kind of Brood-ish entrance. I don't want to see the same one we saw with the fire on the side before, but I think we get some kind of Brood-ish evil Edge as well as a purple demon. I'm going to go the other way and say Edge finishes this story with the Judgment Day by finally beating Finn. But I don't know how to end it, because if the rest of Judgment Day come out afterwards and beat up Edge, that just carries the story on. I want the story to end here. All this stuff that Edge got hurt and he left for a while and he was part of the Judgment Day and now he's fighting them. I kind of want this to end that storyline somehow. I don't know how. I mean, if Finn beats him, Edge can come back and have one last fling towards the end of the year or something for whoever he wants his final match to be with, I guess.
You figure most likely, being that it's a Hell in a Cell, that means there's not going to be any outside interference by the Judgment Day, unless they get outside the cage. You know what I mean? Which they haven't really been doing as much lately, just because they're not trying to throw people through the cages and stuff anymore. But I think Finn going over on Edge clean could be something where wow, you just earned my respect. What I mean? I didn't think you could beat me without the help of the Judgment Day, but you showed me man to man, you were the better man. So I could kind of see something like that being an end to the feud and still putting over Finn big, but also not making Edge look weak either, because, I'm sure that it's going to be a pretty nice performance.
I'm like, who's going to come out and help Edge? Gangrel or something, maybe? I don't know. I mean, it'd be nice if, and someone said this the other night, and I thought it'd be crazy if they could borrow Christian for one night. Would be great, but I don't see it happening. Parabellum's got a nice little Star Wars storyline there. Edge for the win and reveal he's Finn's dad. Empire.
That would be amazing.
I can see a little bit of resemblance in there between the two. If Finn can sink in his cheeks like Edge, that's crazy. 4-way tag team match. Now, I think I'm thinking the same thing as I thought with the women's. The winner would get pushed up for a tag title shot or something. So if I go around this horn here, Montez deserves a singles run. They've already teased it. So I think the Street Profits have run its course. Ricochet and Braun are just picking up steam as a tag team, maybe. They've teased Otis or OTs to join the Maximum Male Models. And I think Chad Gable deserves a singles run. Which his singles match the other night was really good, which leaves the Viking Raiders or Braun and Ricochet. And as much as I'd like to say Braun and Ricochet, even though they've had a little bit of steam recently, as much as I don't like the Viking Raiders, I'm picking the Viking Raiders to win. What about you? Yeah,
I mean, for me, barring a singles run, I'd have to go Street Profits in this, just because this is Mania. They're, in my opinion, the best team in this match.
Correct. I agree.
As far as star power, the fact that they're an actual tag team, whereas Ricochet and Braun, I could see them going over, but they're not. They're a makeshift tag team.
Yeah,
and
they
normally,
do that a lot in WWE.
They don't put over the makeshift tag teams as much on Mania, whereas most of the time it's they give the just due to the guys that have been together. So I could really see it being one of the three teams that have been together the longest, but I'm going to go with the Street Profits just because I think that I don't know. I'm just going to go with the Street Profits just because I
I mean,
think
you're right.
they're a credible team.
If they're not finally going to give those two singles runs, give them one more run at the tag titles. I'm good with it. So they can fight. Well, Sammy and Kevin, maybe. I don't know. We'll find out. We'll pick in that one. I think is that next. Yeah. How about it? Nice segue. I don't know. I don't see how you don't put the belts on Sammy and Kevin because, like, Sammy arguably could be in the main event night too against Roman for some people. So
absolutely,
I'm definitely going Sammy and Kevin. It'll be
this is the beginning of the bloodline losing the belts.
Yeah, I want them to stop the brand split so bad because, like you said, back when that started, they didn't have their own competition, so they pretty much trying to create their own competition. So they went SmackDown, Raw, tried to make it work. It didn't really did. So I understand why they have double titles, but those should be one. They should have one tag team championship.
Yeah.
And if Sammy and Kevin get it, maybe they will make it the one. I don't know. You're going Sammy and Kev too?
Yeah, I'm going Sammy and Kev.
That's kind of
that
story.
They're not pushing Sammy to the main event like a lot of people were clamoring for. They're going to throw him a bone.
Unless there's a solo showing. Let me look back here. Was he in this?
I don't see him there.
No. Trying to think if Solo had a match or not. No, he's not in there. All right.
I would imagine he's probably gonna.
I'm sure he'll come down with him
for one of them.
Yeah, I'd imagine it'd be this one to put the numbers against Sammy and Kevin. But yeah, I can't. Yeah, just like everybody in the chat, I can't go against Sammy and Kevin. They got to give him that.
Like that's the thing about WWE's booking. Around WrestleMania, it gets a little more predictive, just because they're trying to pay off so many different big storylines. And like Sammy's so hot, this would be like Daniel Bryan not getting a shot that one year.
Yeah, I mean, I've already seen reports that Triple H really wants to bring back that feel of the Raw after Mania.
Yeah,
how important it was.
Yep.
Back in the day, it was always, here's the new feuds that are starting. Here's the NXT call-ups. Here's another legend that came out of nowhere. Here's a star that was, or famous people that were at Mania now showing up at Raw for whatever reason. You might see freaking Bad Bunny for all we know. I don't really care for him, but they made this match the other night. Finally, you kind of saw it coming, but Ray, he's going into the Hall of Fame.
Yep.
He's flirting with retirement. And will he put over his son or will he get the win over his son? I have hard to see Dom not going over.
Yeah, Dom's definitely going over here just because it's Ray's kid. Like he cares more right now about the success of Dom than he does his own legacy. Because
there's going to be shenanigans, though. There got to be shenanigans.
Oh, I'm sure there will be. But I definitely see Ray wanting to put his son over. And honestly, like with the whole Judgment Day storyline, Dom is kind of hot right now.
So, you want a hot take? You want a hot take for this match? I'm not one of those guys who say, I told you so, and I called it and this and that. I've never been like that. But I love prospecting and just making up stories and ideas like we do on WrestleSense with the boys. There's a person in this family who's not in contract in AEW anymore. If she shows up, excuse me, Vicky Guerrero helps Dominic win over Ray.
That would be amazing.
Just towards the end of the match, you just hear, excuse me, and here comes Vicky Guerrero. As much as I can't stand her. Wow,
the newest member of the Judgment Day.
Yes.
The original mommy.
or Rhea comes out and has something to do it. Rhea might come down to the ring with him. I don't know. So,
maybe.
Interesting. I love the family storyline. The fact that Ray, I was always a big Ray fan. So, but yeah, I'm with you on Dom, prison Dom getting over here. Oh boy, it's a funny. I'm glad they found something with Dom. I'm still not totally sold on him. Like I'm not a big fan of him, but this version is much better than what we had before. Like I didn't think he'd ever make it. Like I don't care if you're that good in the ring or decent on the mic. If you don't have a good gimmick in WWE, you're not gonna. Longevity is not gonna work. You can be you can survive in AEW or ROH or New Japan. It's just a great wrestler. Here in the WWE, you need that character as well. Yep. Speaking of character, we've seen some of the best promos, some of the arguably the best storyline in wrestling in the past decade or so. Dom wins here. Ray maybe wins after pay-per-view, and they do a third. Oh, there you go. I can handle that.
Yep.
And maybe a little series between the two, since they tease it for so long. So the big question here is, does Roman Reigns win and finally get 1,000 days? Does Cody Rhodes do what his father and know what his family could never do and fulfill the family legacy, win the championship again? Me personally, I wanted them to split the titles with this storyline, but they didn't do it. And just Cody only needs the WWE title. He doesn't need the Universal. He only wants the WWE one. Yeah. He's teased bringing the Winged Eagle back, which I doubt. He's teased unifying him and having one belt, which I doubt. I'll let you go first. Does Cody do it? Do we see that moment, or does
I'm
Roman?
going with Cody, man. Like, I really
Cody?
am. I think Cody is going to finally get his moment here. I mean, honestly, if you're going to beat Roman, like, who better to do it than Cody right now, with as hot as he is? Like, I would imagine there's probably some clause in his contract that he signed when he came over from AEW.
He will win the title
within X number of days, I will become your world champion. You know what I mean? So for that reason alone, I'm going with Cody.
Yeah.
I mean, you've seen the way he has been pushed since he's been back. Typically, that means that they have big plans, and I would not be shocked if, like, a big championship run was part of what brought him back to WWE.
Will allow Reigns to move on after this year. Definitely. I can see him doing more movies and stuff like that, being more part, going into more of that. I see Cody winning, but if he doesn't, this does to Cody what Lex not winning the WWE belt. Yeah, it's a good point. The only thing I can think of is if they want to keep the bloodline story going. They can do it no matter who wins this match. You got the story of Roman without the belts. How does that affect the bloodline since they all lost?
Imagine if they all lose it. Like, that makes it even more intriguing. How's the bloodline going to react? And then that even moves into, like, the Raw after Mania being even more important, because now we need to see how the bloodline, who's had literally all the belts basically for the last year or so, like, now, like, how are they going to react having none?
However, the hype on this match is over a year's build.
Yeah.
Right? It's many years build if you go into Cody's story. It's many years build if you go into Roman's story. The only story I can think of is if you want to carry this out and The Rock gets involved somehow, it's Roman retains, Cody wins it's SummerSlam, which somehow sets up Rock versus Roman, which doesn't need the belts.
Yeah.
For, I don't know if they would do it Survivor Series or not, or wait till next year Mania and continue to build it a long time, which you could with a part-time Roman. So I could see this going either way, because everyone's led to believe Cody wins. So why not surprise your audience? So this is either ending with Cody's big moment, or I've also heard the rumors Roman wins, and then you hear, if you smell, and Rock comes out onto the ramp, end the show. You got to tune into Raw to find out what happens when The Rock comes to Raw. Yep. If The Rock's involved, this can go either way. If The Rock's not involved, Cody's winning. So, Doc, what's happening, man? DocTube showing up to the chat here. We are at the very end of the show here. We just went through a lot about eBay selling and card collecting and just shooting the shit about pro wrestling. We went over our WrestleMania predictions. I am going to go with Cody. But like I said, if The Rock is involved, this can go either way. That's just my take on it.
Yep.
But it's weird because there's a lot of stuff that, people are talking about. There's not a ton of build for Mania. It doesn't have, a ton of big time matches. I don't know. I kind of disagree with that. It's got enough star power to have a big show. We got 13 matches for 2 nights. You may see 1 or 2 more matches added. Who knows? It's always
it looks really good.
It's always a spectacle. It's WrestleMania. They're going to bring out the best they can. They're going to try to get WrestleMania moments for many people as they can. Triple H, I'm sure, wants to really impress as the mastermind behind this Mania and show that, plus there's always those rumors, like you said earlier about the Omos thing, how involved is Vince? We know he's been behind the scenes more recently. I'm not one of the ones that's quick to jump to say, because this sucked, it's Vince who did it. Yeah. Because this doesn't seem right, Vince is back, I guess. So I'm not going to jump that far. I think I think Triple H can do it. He has proven he can do it, and this is his biggest testing ground. Can he pull off a memorable WrestleMania? And all the pieces are in place to the puzzle, man.
Yeah.
And you're gonna be there to see it, man. I'm
Yes,
jealous.
I am.
I didn't know that. I can't believe I didn't ask you that yesterday about that.
Yeah, I just assumed you knew. I thought that's why we were gonna go. Well, I mean, obviously,
just
we're both
figured
wrestling
it'd be
fans. I thought that was the main reason we were gonna go over the predictions.
Nope. Well, big shout out to Mark and Bryce for putting together a amazing show yesterday, man. I could not, if any of them catch the replay or whatever, I know Mark said he would catch it. Kudos. That made me feel like a collector from back in the day again. And I think a lot of people felt the same way. So to see the hobby come to life that way again, with friendship, with a lot of people involved, surviving the COVID era, but also striving because of it, the hobby did take a nice kick. But now we're seeing that recession, like we were just talking about with the Lucas and stuff, how things have changed. It's going to be very interesting to see if the hobby continues to rebound or kind of stays stagnant. Do you have a take on that at all? What do you think
I think it's going to be a little bit of both. Honestly, I think that we're going to see, like, whereas like a lot of the base cards and stuff, like a couple years ago, they were very, very valuable. They're not as valuable anymore. I think we're going to see like a lot of like what's happened over time. Like, whereas after the 90s, like things got into a little bit of a lull and then it got hot again. I think it's going to be kind of like that way with the hobby. Whereas like we're going to have some times where it's like a little bit in decline, like it's been the last year or so, but then it's going to get hot again. And then it's going to be, not as popular again. Then it's going to be hot again. It's just kind of been that way, like over the last several decades, where it kind of comes and goes in waves. But I think when we're really riding the wave, like as we saw through like 2020 and 2019 and like even a little bit in the beginning of 2021, like it can be really, really profitable, can last a long time too. Yeah. So it's just a matter of, when that happens again.
You and Marty talked about this for like a second yesterday, and I wanted to talk a little bit more and pick your brain about it. The whole Panini thing in basketball, and do you think that'll change? Do you think we see some other players come in, NFL or NBA? Is there a way they can get licensing for other companies now in the near future?
Yeah. So in fact, Fanatics is taking over the licensing in 2025. So Panini's basically on borrowed time. They can still keep producing their products, but they cannot use NFL logos, NFL team names, or anything like that. So essentially, you know how like Prism draft picks will like have player in their jersey, but like no like logo or like anything like that. That's essentially what they're going to have to go back to.
Now, is Fanatics where Topps went?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, they purchased Topps. They're also right now looking to purchase the Upper Deck licenses, which
that was the other question.
AEW, hockey, and some other stuff too.
That was the other question, because I'm a graphic artist. I'm into the design and the quality of the paper of the card and stuff like that. And I always liked Upper Deck's quality, even all the way back to 1989. They added something a little different in the quality of those cards that looked better and evolved the card industry from those brown backs of Topps and the Donruss and the Fleer that we had that were same. I mean, Donruss had its style, Fleer had its style, Topps had its style. Upper Deck came in and, to my opinion, really changed the game.
Yeah, absolutely. So
I don't want them to go away. I got the AEW set of cards. They're good. I mean, I wouldn't say they're the best quality Upper Deck's put out as far as design and gloss and thickness, but they're I can tell they're Upper Deck, and I really, that's what I want from. I hope the industry goes more towards expanding, so it's not just all the Paninis are here, and you can have more of a selection with. I'm being selfish, just specifically basketball and football is what I do. Big shout out to Earl Cole from the Wrestling Experience. Good to see you, man. We just did our WrestleMania predictions. I know you on your other channels on the Hardcore Sports Network and stuff are doing predictions and WrestleMania watch-alongs and everything. But I'll be keeping a close eye on it. Now I know 2 people going to WrestleMania, so I can't wait to hear about your experience and some of the stuff that you finally got to go to WrestleMania. To me, with the way that arena is set up, no matter where you're at, even if you're at the top, with that big, huge 360-degree LED Tron that they have, you'll be able to see a ton of shit and still experience it with everybody, regardless if you're way up top. And just to walk around, I mean, you might bump into celebrities when you're walking. Did you bump into any celebrities when you were in LA at all? Any type of celebrities?
Believe it or not, yeah, once. And it was actually a wrestler, Xavier Woods.
What?
We ran into him at a restaurant called Galbi King. It's like a Korean barbecue joint where you like sit around grilling up your own meats. He was out there for some kind of video game con for his YouTube channel. And
sweet.
Yeah, it was really cool meeting him. He was a really nice guy.
All right. We discussed a lot of the stuff we want to do. eBay, YouTube, content creator stuff. We got one last segment, and I always say it's a little pet peeve of mine. A lot of people say it. I don't know if it's like a New York, Boston thing, but a lot of times I hear it more from people up there. And if you know someone who says at the end of the day, they probably say it way too much. You know, so I know a couple guys that do it all the time. I say some of these sayings too. It's not like I'm knocking it. Because I like to joke around with Doc from the podcast and a couple other people that say, not going to lie, or to tell you the truth all the time. Like, because that kind of implies that you normally lie. Yeah. It's not like giving people a hard time busting their balls if they say, not going to lie, or to tell you the truth. I'm like, what do you mean? Wait, so you're normally not telling the truth? I don't know. Mm-hmm. That's just a pet peeve. So I came up with the idea of having an ending segment. We do it on WrestleSense, and we do it here at the Get Blaised Talk Show. Our final segment is called At the End of the Day. So we'll be back right here with our final segment. Stay tuned.
The chase is getting old. The trail is far beyond gold. The tale seldom told. To get the meaning, you take a meaning.
Okay, two quick little parts here in our final segment. The first one is the final question, and then you have your final statement. When you do your final statement, you have to start it with, at the end of the day, whatever. All right, but first, the final question of the interview is, what advice would you give to a new or growing content creator here on YouTube?
Just stay consistent and keep doing it, and do what makes you happy, because the more you do something that actually you enjoy doing, the better it's going to come off in the content. That's one of the main reasons that I put out different types of content, because like if I'm really passionate about something, I want to share that with people. And typically like when you're passionate about something, like it comes out in the content. So I would just say, be true to yourself and be consistent. That's the big thing.
And YouTube recognizes that. We talked about it before, all the analytics and the algorithms and everything. You look through all those numbers and stuff, the analytics. The one analytic I like to watch a lot, which everyone talks about likes, everyone talks about views, everyone talks about subscribers. The one I like to continuously remind people that's out there that makes a big difference, whether you're a big or a small YouTuber, is average watch time. So if you go to your YouTube channel analytics and you look for average watch time, that doesn't tell you how many the broad your audience is, but it tells you if you're grabbing your audience and holding on to them. And you got to keep in mind, when I worked for Verizon, this is the story I like to tell. We had a door counter. So every time someone come in the door, it counted. Every time it went out, it counted. It took that number, balanced it off of our sales, and would give us a percentage that we would try to have to reach. Obviously, it wasn't 50% or 100%, but we tried to sell 20, 30% of the people that come through the door. We tried to sell to them. So we had an analytic to hold our employees responsible and accountable. Sometimes it wasn't very fair because in a mall setting, you got a family of 5 come in. Then they leave. 5 kids go to the toy store. They come back. Then the parents leave and come back. And then the whole family leaves and comes back. And then they buy one phone and one accessory. That's not going to look good for the sales rep. But at the same time, the idea I'm talking about is average watch time. If you're holding your content you're holding your audience for over 10 minutes, even if you're doing 30-minute to an hour videos, if it's over 10 minutes, that's phenomenal. I've talked to some people that they only have a couple hundred subscribers, but they're like 15-minute average watch time, which is incredible. That means whatever you're doing, your audience doesn't come and leave. They come and they stay. So that's a big analytic I want you guys to watch. I learned that a long time ago from somebody, and I like to reiterate it. Once again, during this show, I've learned from the audience. I've learned from you. And that's what it's all about, is that we all grow as content creators and share best practices and war stories with each other. Realize you're not the only one doing it. You know, you're going to have bad times where you don't feel like streaming or putting up a video or editing something. And what Anthony said probably is the best way to summarize it: consistency. If you're not consistent, whether that's once a week, once a day, YouTube will notice it. The more consistent you are, the more your content will get out there. And you want to reach as many people as you can, or maybe a specific audience. So we already talked about your channel, what you do on it, what's coming up on the channel. Can't wait to see what you experience at WrestleMania. But now we've come to the final part of the day, and it's at the end of the day. So you have one final thought for our audience and fans out there, and you must start it with "at the end of the day."
At the end of the day, just be kind to people. You know, this world's a hard enough place, but just, you know, go out of your way to be nice to somebody, and you never know what it can do.
I love it. Simplified answer, straightforward, and it's a short, small answer, but it speaks volumes. That I cannot express how important that is. I've seen people burn themselves out on YouTube and have to leave. So if you're feeling burnout, don't be afraid to step away for a little while, come back rejuvenated. The biggest advice I would give, and at the end of the day, I think, and I say it on my show, kind of corny, but I want to put the unity back into community. You know, there's so many communities around here, which we talked about earlier, that community for everything, but there's a lot of toxicity. There's a lot of people that are out to piss on your parade, no matter if you're having fun or not. You got to have thick skin. You got to have fun with what you do. Be creative. But more importantly, if you have that community, if you have those people around you, use them, talk to them, DM, find out what works for them, how they got popular in YouTube. Find your favorite YouTubers and slide into their DMs and ask them. They might not answer you at all. I've gotten a hold of some of the biggest YouTubers on the planet, and they've never answered me. That's fine. Some of them will, and you'd be surprised. Maybe you'll get some advice from them. I've shot DMs, and I'm not that type of person. I don't put myself out there like I should, and that's not good for someone who's trying to buy and sell cards and stuff either. You got to be willing to put yourself out there, and I've learned that more through YouTube and through talking to people like Anthony. This is one of the, I'm gonna blow some smoke because you deserve it, bro. And a lot of people, you're not going to hear the positive stuff. Positivity, friendship with a guy who I feel like I've known my whole life, but I've only known you for a couple years. A lot of in common. We've had some heartfelt conversations outside of the game. We've had some great, funny conversations in the game, and having this. I look forward to being your friend for as long as we can, and journey and wrestling, cards, YouTube, eBay, the whole 9 yards. I appreciate you for who you are, the realism. I've said this for almost every guest I have because it's true, not just because I know them or I'm friends with them. Few and far between you will find humble, just outright good people on YouTube that are out to help people and share their content. A lot of people are doing it for themselves, doing it for the money. God bless you for however you're doing it. But I love the people that are real, that just, you know, they love engaging with the chat. They love meeting new people. And that's what one thing we have in such common that I think I wish more people on this platform would be like. So at the end of the day, just like at the end of the day, listen to Anthony. That's the end of the day. I look forward to bringing you back and revisiting some of this stuff again. We'll have to do it again. I'm always open if you need someone on.
I look forward to having you on many times too.
So this is a common face. We're going to hang out here on the channel and his channel as well. Like I said, if you haven't already, Picksburgh, Picksburgh. Make sure you guys check him out on any platform. All the links are in the description. If you want to buy and sell cards, check him out on eBay. He has a very thorough. How many listings do you know offhand?
I had over 2,000, but I've literally between taking down some for the show, and then I've sold like 50 on eBay over the weekend. So
wow,
I'm just under 900 or 1,900 right now listings.
Wow, that's incredible. See, that motivates me to get some of these cards out and get. I mean, I have a stack of cards I've been trying to push, and here's how it is. These $10, $20 cards that I have, I could have walked around and peddled them and maybe sold one or two or traded. But now I'm really motivated to throw them up all on eBay and start working that the right way. And I'll be picking your brain more on that.
Anytime.
enjoy WrestleMania, man. I am jealous, bro.
We should
So-
get come, man.
And
That'd
maybe we'll do Philly. We'll see. I'll be talking to the WrestleSense boys and everything too.
Yeah.
And who knows? You never know. That's a long time from now. But hey, you never know what people are going through out there. You never know what people have gone through. I always say it doesn't matter who you are, what you are, where you are, how you are. You are more than welcome here on this channel. I have a blast with these interviews. I never planned on doing these. It just kind of turned into it. And I never want to stop it. I want to continue to try to find people to interview, bring back ones I've already had. And I can't wait to hear about your WrestleMania. See you at the next show. I guess that'll be when I give you your LeBron at the next Washington Crown Center. That's where.
Yes, sir.
So you'll get your one of one LeBron collage. No one else has it, and you deserve it, bro. I really appreciate you, man. You deserve all the accolades you get. I'm going to go back to 2K23 and creating characters and having fun. Tuesday, I'll be live again at 4 p.m. And from there on, thanks so much, Anthony. I appreciate you, bro.
Thank you. Appreciate you, brother.
Once again, we all just got Blaise. I appreciate you. And I'll see you in my streams, people. We are out of here. Thank you.
Get blazed. Get blazed. Get blazed.